So before we get started, I usually always do this with every guest that I have on. I do a little story, a little scene, to basically give a reason how you got here.
Okay.
So you rouse from your slumber, you get ready for your stream, when you notice a peculiar gravestone with a sugar skull with the words "Ole" on it. Once you say the incantation, you are immediately teleported to a world that feels like home. Not a living soul can be sensed in this place. You look up and you see the moon. In fact, I'm going to send you a picture of the moon. It is one that I have edited myself. I love this.
Okay. Okay.
So you see the moon uh, with a bloody grin, while a Siri voice says,
You've arrived at your destination. Welcome to Muerto City.
dead end on it, all while a Spanish guitar is playing in the background. What is your reaction?
Interest, I think. I
Interest.
would be interested. I would just follow and see where it takes me. I have no fear of being dead already. So,
And there you go. Another undead welcomed into the realm of the dead, essentially. Alright, so you walk into the studio. I'm there on your left. You're there to the right. I will introduce you with a little intro, and then we'll get started.
sounds good to me.
Today's special guest is a VTuber that plays the same game I know very well. She is a zombie queen, sharing the glory of the undead with these categories: Smite, Battleground of the Gods, Divine Knockout, Overwatch, and Valorant. Speaker of the Gothic alphabet, please welcome Shiokira.
Ah!
Welcome to the show. Another undead. Yes, finally, we have one. So happy to
I know
have
there's
you.
not many of us.
Well, there are, but they're kind of hard to get in contact with, quite
Yeah,
surprisingly.
that's true.
Okay, so we'll start from the beginning, and the first question I have for you is, why did you get start VTubing?
So I started VTubing around a year and a half ago, and I've been playing Smite for to preface it. I've been streaming Smite for about 5 years now.
Oh wow,
Like
okay.
I've been streaming it like on and off for 5 years. And I did webcams and I did like no cam streams, and that's what I did at the very beginning. And then I discovered VTubers through just like a mutual friend of mine who I've been playing Smite with for a really long time, and I think it was really interesting. I love anime. I love like everything that has to do with the culture of like Japan and also just anime in general. And it was something that was really, really cool to me. And I love like creating this like persona of yourself and these like things that you can put out there to represent yourself. So it was something that I thought was really fun and interesting. And I love to stream and I love playing Smite and playing other games as well. So it just kind of made sense, I guess.
Okay, and this is a question for me because I also play Smite, as probably you
Hmm.
could tell with the outfit that I have. Clearly, I got the inspiration from a skin,
Yeah.
but so what made you want to play Smite?
So I've been playing Smite for 8 years. I started playing in 2014. I actually started playing because one of my friends that I went to school with played it and he introduced it to me, and then I just like continuously played it and I just kept playing it and I still play it now. So
Is that
just
friend
like
left? Did they leave?
yeah, he doesn't
Okay.
he doesn't play Smite anymore. It's just something that I like kind of picked up and then just like ran with, I guess.
Same. I will say that my no longer best friend did introduce me to Smite, and I just ran with it. Of course, my Smite experience was, oh, you'll get the hang of it. We'll play Conquest, so just throw you into the wolves. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's how it was with me too. I remember my first god I ever played was Fenrir. I like only played Fenrir for like six, not even like a year, like 6 months, and then I started playing Nox. Funny enough, and then I played a lot of Needs for a while, and then I just like kind of like after I started getting more comfortable with the game and actually understanding how the game worked, I just branched out and like played whatever.
So now you're balanced,
I would
mainly.
I would say so. Yeah, I have a preference for certain classes over other ones, but I feel like I have a firm grasp on how like every character works in the game for sure.
What is your strongest game mode on Smite?
My strongest game though would definitely be Conquest. I played Conquest primarily for 6 years. I would play off game modes like occasionally, but I didn't really. I've been playing them a lot more lately, but I still do play Conquest a lot.
Okay.
Definitely Conquest, specifically like mid or solo, are like my strongest roles.
Mid solo. Okay. I do see
Yeah,
that usually when there's a mid, usually solo or solo mid is the
is the combo
is
for
the
sure.
the combo because they're kind of the same, kind of one person, one lane,
Yeah,
one jungling. It
I
all just
definitely have a preference for mages and like
gotcha. Okay.
warriors. Yeah.
So you usually bring do you bring guardians to the soul lane?
My favorite guardian is Ardio, so yeah.
Ardio.
I don't,
Okay.
yeah, I don't have a private. I don't like a lot of the other guardians. Like, I enjoy Ares and I enjoy like Sobek and stuff and Athena, but I don't go out of my way to play them unless I really need to. I remember I remember all the Soul Lane Guardian metas, and I would play them, but I hated them. So
Oh, so
you
you
know.
remember Xing Chen in the soul lane?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Xing Chen versus Bologna was the classic.
yeah.
What about Cthulhu? Because he seems like he's up there with aggressive like Ardio.
I enjoy him like some. He's definitely not my favorite by any means, but I will play him if it like deems to be played. I've been playing a lot more mid lately. Solo was like my jam for a good like 2 years, and then
Okay.
I took like a break from mid because I didn't enjoy as much. And then I started playing solo, and then I stopped playing solo and started playing mid again. So
Gotcha. So were you also thrown into the wolves in the beginning?
oh yeah, oh
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, I have my friend who introduced me to Smite was a Thanatos main, and he
oh,
like only played Thanatos jungle, and that was season 2, so like everything was completely different than it is now.
yeah, yeah.
But he only played Thanatos, and I would just play Fenrir, and I would just like walk around trying to figure out like what to do, and I had no idea what to do, and he wouldn't tell me. He's like, "You'll figure it out. It's okay."
It's crazy because my wife also loves Fenrir, like the concept of Fenrir, and like his kit seems rather easy, but like he is not beginner friendly.
He is really not beginner friendly. I'm trying to think of like the beginner. I'm like I've had the God Pack for so long. I'm trying to like think of like what is like a beginner friendly god. I don't like because I don't think that Ra is inherently like beginner friendly. You have an ult that's
Skill
based
shots.
purely on
He's got
yeah.
two
You have an
lines, like
yeah. Um, like
like
Neith is probably like the most beginner friendly. I don't think Guan
yeah.
Yu is inherently beginner friendly.
That's a lot of swapping skills with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like trying to think of like all the I just don't know all the beginner gods off the top of my head.
Ymir, I know was
Oh,
beginner.
Ymir is like the noob god for sure. Like if there's someone who's like playing like support and they don't know how to play support at the very beginning, they definitely play Ymir. So that kind of makes sense.
And now
But
buffed Thor. Like
yeah, oh yeah. But there was like back in the day for like so long, like Thor was like very high skill ceiling. He had a low skill floor. Like you could be like an okay Thor and like do fine, but he had a really high skill ceiling. That god's I haven't watched the SPL in a while, but I'm pretty sure he's not very good now. They're just better. There have for a long time there have just been better characters than
yeah.
Thor.
And of course the items have changed drastically since
Oh
we
yeah.
started.
Yeah.
Uh
It's like
fucking-
crazy seeing how often and how different like all the different items are.
Yeah. But I will say like in at some instances gods are harder to kill comparative to back then where you would just insta die, melt.
Oh yeah, it was like you had like longer games and snowball wasn't as big of a thing back then, but it was still like you had a way easier ability to just like kill somebody based off your own pure skill. Like ADCs 1v1ing, it was a lot easier to kill the enemy ADC than it like is now.
Yeah, yeah. Especially with various buffs to items and passives and shit like that.
Well, yeah, and then
There were
also
mainly
the
passives for most things. Like a sub what was it? They had a
like
main
an
passive?
internal
Yeah.
an internal cooldown kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of items with that. It was Soul Reaver was one of them. It wasn't even Chronos Pendant was one of those. It was like Soul Reaver, and a long time ago was Ratatouille. I can't think of any physical items that were like that. Heartseeker for a while, but not anymore.
Oh yeah, Heartseeker.
But also like they added the oh gosh, I'm forgetting what it's called. The like quality of life like thing where everybody has just additional health, like at the start of the game or
yeah.
whatever. I'm like forgetting what it's called. But But yeah, so that's something that has just like changed the game a lot drastically from how it was back then. Like you didn't kill people as early and the games went longer, but it was a lot easier to kill people.
Yeah, most definitely. And then the whole boots thing, I think that was part of it because you really had
Oh
no
yeah.
power or defense until that third upgrade for
Yeah.
boots. So
Also, like if somebody just had boots before you, they were just moving faster than you were as well.
yeah, balanced.
Yeah. Yeah, like super balanced. And said everybody gets movement speed now. Like, but yeah, the game is definitely in a way different place. I don't think it's necessarily in a worse or better place. It's definitely just different. The game just plays differently than it used to.
Okay. And while we're still on the subject of Smite, we could go on tangents forever. I don't mind.
Yeah,
love
that's
Smite.
true.
What would you recommend for a new player trying to jump into Smite?
Um, I definitely think this is something that I have heard from a lot of people as I've like played the game for a really long time. It's definitely good to pick one character in every single class and just understand how they work. Because you can play one character in every class so that you can flex whatever role you need to play, but definitely try to understand at least one warrior, one mage, one hunter, and then just build from there. Because when you understand a hunter, when you like hunters are like the perfect example because at the end of the day, hunters all do the same thing. They all shoot and they all are auto attack based. Once you understand one hunter and understand their abilities, you can branch off of that and then understand the abilities of other hunters later. But getting auto attacks down first and having good auto tracking and stuff like that, I feel like is like really important.
Awesome. I couldn't think for a better tip for beginners to do that. So it's
Yeah.
definitely not try to learn the store.
No, because like the store has a very good. It's gotten better as the years have gone on, like integrated recommend system.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also no harm in asking your teammates. I ask people for build help all the time. Like when I'm doing something that's like new or funky, I ask like my friends that I hang out with, like, what do you think would be good?
Ah, so you ask your friends, not the randos.
Not the rando. If it's like a rando that like I recognize their name, because like playing conquest and playing casual and ranked conquest for as long as I have, like there are names that you recognize and people that you recognize after a while, and you can ask like certain people. But definitely like I ask my friends who've also been playing the game for a really long time.
Okay. Well, there you go. Don't ask the randos.
Don't ask
Trust your
randos.
team. Don't ask the
Yeah.
randos.
Trust the people you trust.
There you go. Okay, so coming back to VTubing, what is the lore and history behind your name?
So Shakira is a reference from. So originally, my name was actually Rexar, not like the Hearthstone character. Even though I learned after the fact that that was like a Hearthstone character's name. My name was Rexar with an AU at the end. And it was just kind of like a name that I came up with, something that was like a little bit more on like the androgynous side, and just something that like was like a simple gamer name. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But then my name Shakira is from a book. It has been years since I read that book. I could not tell you what book it's from. I don't remember. But it was a name that like really stuck with me. It just like it had as a shortened version for show, and it's like very like easy to say. I feel like for the most part once you like hear it once, and I feel like it like sticks with people for the most part. My lore of like VTubing and stuff like that is just that and I guess this kind of ties into Smite too, is that I am just the queen of the fields of Asphodel in Lake Hades' realm in the Greek underworld. All the shades that are Asphodel is basically the fields where normal people who have not sinned too deeply in their life or have not done anything too astronomically important in their life go, and they just remain as souls in the afterlife, and they will tend to things or they'll live their life as shades or whatever. And I just kind of overlook them and make sure that nothing bad is happening to the people who just lived life and then died.
Oh, very nice indeed. So have you amassed a following of shades? Is that what you call your chat?
Yes, my chats are my shades. I like to think so. I have my good little community. Once I ventured out of Asphodel and I started streaming, I like to think I have a good little community, and I've surrounded myself with a lot of people with nice and wonderful communities as well.
Okay. I'm sure if there was more descripting factors of the book, I'm sure my wife would find it. She's a big anime
Oh yeah, she would
nerd. She'll
probably
find it.
she would probably be able to find it very easily.
What about the design for your current model that you have here?
So
What gave you this inspiration to pick like white, red, the different color eyes, the collar, and
So
The dress.
originally, I wanted to do like a zombie design. Zombies have been something just undead culture and like the idea of like the afterlife is very interesting to me. And I wanted to come up with a design that because once I started VTubing, I was following a bunch of like corporate VTubers like Hololive and Niji Sanji and stuff like that. And obviously everybody knows Ollie, who is like the zombie VTuber. And I loved her color scheme, but I didn't want to obviously take that or anything. But she's definitely somebody whose like personality I draw a lot from. She's very chaotic, like I am sometimes. But I wanted to do something that was kind of out of the bounds of just like normal. Like when you think of a zombie, you think of like muted greens and blues and browns and stuff like that. I wanted to do something that was like a little bit different than that. And the outfits, like the outfit that my model has, is something that I would wear in real life. It's something that I would wear outside of my streaming life, and I would just wear going out and about.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's definitely just like I also take a lot of inspiration from a lot of different anime. Soul Eater is one of my favorite animes, as well as the Saga of Tanya the Evil. The main character, Tanya, is something that I draw a lot of personality and like just like visual inspiration from and stuff like that. There's a lot of like just like micro like anime references in my design and like my personality and just like the way I do things. Like I love a lot of horror. I love all horror. I love like just different stuff that has to do with like dark anime. You know what I'm saying? And like
Yeah.
gothic stuff.
So the moon, you definitely knew where that came
Oh
from.
yeah,
when
I
you saw
definitely
it.
knew them. Yeah. So Later was the first anime that I watched when I was like 12.
I see. See, Soul Eater was the first anime that I truly got into by myself that I discovered.
Yeah.
It wasn't like through a friend or anything. I saw an image and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then I went down the rabbit hole and then I saw all of it. And then I just fell in love with the art style. So that's the art style I like to do when I draw is essentially a Soul Eater-esque kind of art style is what I want to do. I'm not there yet, but I'm trying. so, um, so what kind of content do you provide or wish to provide?
We want to provide something that gives people comfort in just like somebody like I want to be the person that like people want to hang out with. Like you want to watch my stream to just like hang out and chill. And I know like I can get very loud sometimes. I have ADHD. I get very loud. I get very rambunctious. But at the same time I get really quiet sometimes and I don't really talk. But I want people to find comfort in like it's okay to not talk all the time and just listen to music and chill and just watch somebody. Or if when I'm being rambunctious and loud to just have a continuous conversation. You know what I mean? I just want to provide people with comfort. And I'm not the funniest. I like to think I am funny though. Like making people laugh, I feel like is one of the most important things in life. So also making people laugh is pretty important to me.
Oh yeah, it's pretty great energy to feed off of as well. I can
Yeah.
understand that. So you do collabs with most Smite streamers, right?
Yeah, so I have a stream team of my own that was formed by Momero and Lady Rebellion. It's called Vitaku. It's basically comprised of a lot of us that have been playing Smite for a really long time and some of them who haven't been playing Smite as long but really really love the game, and we all kind of met each other because there is a big VTubing community within Smite. And even people who aren't a part of our stream team, there's a lot of VTubers in Smite, and we all just kind of like came together and we all vibe very similarly and we get along, and it's just a way for us to all like hang out and bring our communities together and play Smite together and stuff like that. It's really really fun, and I'm really glad that Lady and Mo started it because that was all them and I was just invited to it. So
Oh, well, there you go. Is it an open invitation, or do you need to be certain member, certain level, certain anything like that?
so it's not necessarily open invitation. It's kind of in the sense that like it's somebody that we all are familiar with and would want to vibe to and have like collabs with and just hang out with. Like there are people that there's people in there that I have invited that I have become really good friends with, and out of proximity have become really good friends with my other stream members as well, and they have also invited people. But the main group when we were all just coming together as a group was just VTubers that everybody kind of was on each other's radar with and knew each other kind of, and then we became close like after that.
All right, well, there you go. Now you got to be friends.
Yeah, and we're friends by proximity, but I like to think that we're all friends. We would be friends anyways.
All right, excellent. So, did you draw or rig your current model?
I did not. I have a VTuber mama, my artist mama. Her name is Minky, and then I have a VTuber rigging papa. His name is Doki. They're super amazing. This is my 2.0 model. I had one before, which was the design was like a little bit different, and my mama was the one who rigged and drew that last one. But for this one that I use now, and I'll be using from like now until whenever I maybe get a new one, is Minky and Doki.
Awesome. I really do like the overall aesthetic. It looks very polished.
Thank you. Yeah,
Especially on the rigging side. I know things can break.
yeah.
On that
Like,
side.
when Doki sent me the like the files to basically like start messing with my stuff and get it all set up, I was like in like the program that is in VTube Studios, like setting it up, and I was like, oh my god, there's so much stuff and there's so much controls. And he was like, I know stuff like this tends to break pretty frequently, so if you have any issues, just tell me and I'll fix it. I was like, sounds great. Like I am so out of my expertise. I'm like not very technologically advanced. Like I feel like I'm like technologically inept, if anything. So I'm like I have no idea what to do if something breaks.
I mean, I just saw a VOD where your hair just disappeared. I'm pretty sure that
Oh,
was a button, but
yeah, that is on purpose. That was something that I talked to him about because I was like, I have my friend, like a couple of my stream team friends have toggles for their hair or like they have outfit toggles or whatever. So I was like, I want to be bald. Like I want an egg head. Like if I can make that, if you can do that. And he was like, sure. I was like, sounds awesome.
I want to be the egg woman.
Yeah, I want to be the egg.
I saw it. I was like, hold on. I had to scroll back a bit. It was like, did she just do that on purpose or what happened?
Yeah, it's
She's
like
not
her
freaking out. So
it's like her hair is gone.
that was pretty unique. Not many people do that. I mean, I can't because it's a very different way I got my stuff rigged. A friend did it on Maya, and they didn't use like the normal way that we usually do the VTube rigging, and I have no idea how the hell he did it, but he did it, and I'm very impressed that he was able to get any sort of movement uh, with the way I rigged mine, because yeah.
I cannot explain to you. I could like I see like these videos on Twitter of like people posting like work in progresses and like updates on like models they're working on, stuff like that, and like it shows like the program, which is like it's called Live 2D, and I'm like, I have no idea how any of this works. Like I could literally not explain to you in any form of sentences how that program works. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's probably better that way. You'll probably hurt yourself trying to figure
Yeah,
it out.
I'll hurt my brain thinking about it a little too much.
Yeah. And are you planning on adding more to your current model?
Eventually I want to get more outfits or maybe like a couple different hairstyles. I love the like the alt fashion gothic kind of look, and I love fashion also in my everyday life as well. So I definitely want to do that. It will definitely just take time, but I am very happy with like the way where my model stands now. Me and Minky worked really hard on like coming up with like a really good design.
And did you have a character layout, I think?
A reference, like
Yeah,
a reference sheet. She's in the process of making me one. I just have like my like PNG that I use for like everything. If anybody needs like what my outfit looks like and stuff like that, but I am in the process of like getting a reference sheet.
Oh, okay. So it's in the works. Very
Yes.
good, very good. Did you debut?
I did debut. I debuted it was on Sunday. Sunday the 10th is when it was. So that was like 2 weeks ago, basically.
Oh, very recent.
Yeah, it's very recently. When I was using my first model, I didn't debut really at all. I went from a PNG and just started using it because I was like so excited. And then I gained a little bit of following, and I kind of familiarized myself with like the VTubing space in Smite and just like in general. And then I did an actual debut for this model 2 weeks ago.
Nice. How did that debut go?
It went really well, honestly. I was really surprised. I was a little anxious. I was like, I have no idea what the turnout's gonna be like. Because I hadn't streamed for a while, just trying to get everything like in order, and everybody knew what was going on. But I still was like I was like, what if I fell off or like whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm just gonna like do my thing, and then whoever shows up, and we'll just like go from there. And I had a really good turnout, so I was really glad. I revamped like just like a shit ton of stuff on my stream. Um, I just like I changed all my like previews and just like I just did a bunch of stuff that I hadn't gotten around to doing yet. So
Okay, so you put more time and effort into the
basically,
small
yeah,
things that
yeah.
you don't really think about until like you're like, okay, I should really
To do that.
upgrade.
Yeah, it's like I hadn't like done a whole lot of upgrading for like a while, like not even like for any specific reason. I just hadn't gotten around to it. Like I invested in a stream deck, which is something that I needed instead of like hotkeys on my keyboard.
Mhm.
And I got like actual like layouts for like overlays for just chatting and like beginning and ending like screens and like new alerts and alert sounds and stuff like that. So it definitely does take if like somebody's like looking to do something that is really unique and stuff like that, the art and like just the effort that you put in will make a hell of a difference.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And speaking on the Stream Deck, how was your experience with that? Was it difficult? Was it worth it?
No, it is very, very, and like I said, I'm very technologically inept. It is very, very user friendly. It's really easy to use. You can label the buttons, you can put icons, you can upload your own icons for it.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's super, super easy to use. It syncs automatically with, I use OBS. It syncs automatically with OBS. It syncs automatically with VTube Studio for your toggles and stuff like that. So yeah, if anybody is like wondering if it's like worth the money, because it is a decent chunk of money for somebody who's like maybe just starting streaming or whatever, it's definitely worth it when you get to that like comfortable place.
Oh yeah, because I most definitely have been curious about it. But you
Yeah.
know, once I see the price, I'm like, I'll sit
Yeah,
on
you're
it.
like maybe it's like maybe that can wait for like a little bit longer. And that's what I did for a really long time too.
Okay. Well, excellent. I'm glad that it's worked off and it's definitely user friendly because some hardware cannot.
Not be
Be
user friendly? Yeah,
yeah.
that's very true. Trust me, I would know.
Okay, so what is your strongest improvement of your stream?
Strongest improvement is probably the actual like video quality, I guess. I recently got a new PC because
Nice.
my CPU like I say exploded like jokingly, but like it just was my CPU was running at 100% all the time with like
Oh.
no programs open. So it was like on the verge of exploding. Like
Oh.
it was like on the way out. But I got a new PC and just like upping like the actual like visual quality of like stuff like is definitely like I think the biggest part, and just like also interacting with people better and not being so like anxious. I have like social anxiety like in real life when it comes to certain things. So just like interacting with new people and getting to know new people has definitely been, I feel like, something that I've gotten a lot better at.
Oh, I see. So so it is quite a struggle that you have to deal with, which is actually a question that I have later. But so would you say that back when you were first starting off, something like this would have probably never happened?
Um, in what way? Like, what do you mean?
Like talking to a stranger through an
Oh,
interview
e-
kind of
e-
thing.
yeah, it was definitely like something that even now I was like, like you messaged me and I was like yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. So I do, but I was like, I don't know how it's gonna go. Like, I don't know what to anticipate. But I definitely like back in the day of like probably like 3 or 4 years ago, it's probably something that I would have been like a lot more weary of.
Hmm.
But it's definitely not an issue now and has gotten a lot better, which is nice.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, some rando stranger from your chat messages you on Twitter. What are you gonna do? Like,
Yeah, like it's like I don't really know what to do, and that's something that like a lot of VTubers I think, and that like would take me into a whole tangent also about like women VTubing and women just in the streaming industry
I mean, we
as
could
like a
go that
whole.
way if we would. Well,
Well, I could go into a whole tangent about it, but it's just like something along the lines of like you never know what somebody's true intentions are for the
uh-huh.
most part, which I think is a very fair statement to say. I don't mean it like maliciously about anybody or anything like that. You just never truly know what anybody means when they talk to you,
Right.
especially like I've talked to a couple people about it like a lot. I've talked to like some of my stream team members about it. We talk about like parasocial relationships and
Mm.
stuff a lot, that people like this like fanatical like obsession that people have developed. It's happened to me a couple times just in my life, but not with VTubing, just like as a personality on Smite. I know a lot of Smite people. I've known a lot of people in the community for a really long time. But it's happened to my stream team members where specifically obviously the women that they just have somebody in their chat who's like not obsessed with them, but just constantly harasses them almost. And it's like not an easy thing to deal with, but it's something that is definitely like it happens a lot to a lot of women, but VTubing has helped me personally, like when that has happened to me with my confidence of like shutting that shit down basically. Like putting it to rest and being like no and just like setting firmer boundaries because my confidence is a lot higher.
I see. On that subject, what would you say as a maybe a new female VTuber that's starting to deal with something like that? What would be the tip that you have for them?
I think a really good set of advice is definitely keep your boundaries like very, very strict at the beginning. Like you need to set very firm boundaries of what you want in the beginning, and then as your comfort level and what you're okay with starts to develop and change as you grow as a person, you can maybe change them or reel back on them. Like if you want to close your Twitter DMs to everybody except for mutuals, and you want to close your Discord DMs to everybody but mutuals at the beginning, and then open them up to people who you recognize from your stream, and then open them up to everybody and then respond at your own pace, like that kind of thing. It's definitely like a set it at your own pace and what your comfort level is. Everybody has a different comfort level. A lot of people are super extroverted and comfortable talking to everybody, and I know people like that, but there's a lot of people that aren't. So I think that's like a really good set of advice is just close off your messaging system and just answer at your own pace, and you can change it in increments as you feel comfortable doing so.
Okay. And for someone who would say is new to your chat and doesn't know the boundaries in that you've set, is it a preferable method for them to be upfront and be like, "Hey, so what are your boundaries for conversation or things like that?" Like, how would you want them to word it so that way it's not coming off like cringe?
I think I think that like that's fair. I think for me personally, I have a hard time, especially over the internet. It's something that I've experienced like just over time is like I have a hard time picking up on tone with the way people message me sometimes. So it's
Okay.
definitely like I personally definitely prefer when people are just outright with either their intentions or their questions, or if they were to ask what are your boundaries, I would definitely prefer somebody just ask it outright because I can just be honest because they're asking me an honest question. There's no ulterior, as far as I would think, no ulterior motives behind what are your boundaries, where do you sit with people talking to you.
Okay. And I'm actually gonna write a note here. Perhaps that's something we could talk about later in the
Yeah.
future with a more cast that have had that same conversation, because honestly, I don't know much about that. First off, I'm a dude, IRL and in VTubing, so that's not been a thought that I've had to do. Mainly, I just get like those people who are like, "Ugh, you're a VTuber, cringe," and shit like that. Like, I usually don't
Something
get that to where I'm like, "Look, this is my boundaries," because usually I just ban people when they're just being uber cringe on my chat like that. But I
I think
definitely want to write that down.
it's something that does happen to women, but at the same time, I think there is a big stigma around men in VTubing as well. I have male stream team members and I have male VTuber friends of all kinds. There's definitely like a big stigma around it that it's just like, oh, well, if you're a dude in VTubing, then you're like super ugly and you get no bitches and da 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 da, right?
Bitch.
But you are bitchless and you are bagless. Like that is like something that is something that is like a super common stigma with like, oh, you're a male VTuber, you're just ugly and you get no girls and you're broke and you live alone and you're lonely and this and that and this and that. But that's like not the case at all.
Oh.
Like every male VTuber friend that I have is either just tremendously attractive, they have a girlfriend, they have a wife, they make very decent money, or they're in school to make decent amount of money, or they're super charismatic and like extroverted. So I just don't understand where that like stigma comes from because it just doesn't make any sense.
Sunbird is the same way as me. He also has a wife, and like just the whole no bitches comment. Like we're both fucking dying.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And there's
hilarious.
And there's a lot of people in VTubing who don't make it like abundantly clear that there are different reasons behind that. Is some people encourage parasocial relationships, but there's a lot of people in VTubing who don't make it necessarily clear that they are in a monogamous relationship or they have a husband or a wife or whatever. And to each their own. That's everybody's individual choice. But that it's just an interesting like just like an interesting like stigma that like there's like for women it's like, oh, you're just ugly and fat, like that's like it, that's like the negative stigma for women in VTubing, and for men there's so much more to it because like for whatever reason I just don't get it.
Yeah, I totally understand. But sticking with like a stigma, like that's because usually we go all in one direction. Like some people are like super skinny, they got like 20 packs, they got muscles up the ass. But to counter that, a streamer I recently did an interview, his name is Sunburn, he purposely made his model to reflect him, and he was like, no, I want a fat model, give me a fat model, I want to draw a fat model. And I'm just like, dude, that is incredible that you decided to go with that route.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of things. There's a lot of VTuber trends that go along. Like a lot of people sometimes don't like to show their face, but a lot of corporate or just like bigger VTubers will show their faces and what their bodies look like. And a lot of people like their models reflect their body type, whether they're skinny or they're fat or they're on the thicker side or whatever. Their models reflect what they what they look like bodily wise, at least in real life. Like my model, for example, like I am not built like my model. I'm very like not skinny, but I am very like lean, I guess.
Okay.
But I have the same exact fashion that my model has. I like the outfit that she wears, I own that exact outfit. Like
okay.
so it's like just a different kind of trade-off for me, but it's everybody's like individual choice. Some people don't want their model to look anything like the way that they look. Like and that's like whatever they're comfortable with.
Yeah, your model, like your outfit looks is something you actually have, and so is mine. Like I used to look way more like the Mariachi Loki skin, but now I switched it back to something that I have, so that way it's more personable. Still kept the name because it's awesome, but yeah, definitely everything that this VTuber model has, I have because it is me. So
like I said, it's everybody's individual choice. Everybody expresses themselves differently. But there will a lot of just like people who are relatively known in the VTubing community usually make the choice to make something about their model or similar to the way that they are.
Yes, and it's totally a legit way of doing it. In
yeah,
fact, it makes it more personable.
Yeah.
So on that same note, what is the weakest part of your stream?
I think like part of my stream is probably like I'm a very competitive person. This you probably already assume where this is gonna go. I'm a very competitive person.
Okay.
I don't like rage necessarily, and I don't really mauled. I definitely get frustrated, and it's like easy to tell when I get frustrated about things. Like I've had people tell my friends because like a lot of my viewers are friends with my like just my Smite gaming friends that I have, and they've been like, yeah, like I can tell that she's frustrated, or like it's very obvious to tell when she gets like really really frustrated. And that's something that I've tried. I don't get quiet. I just get like a certain tone in my voice that's not, like angry, but it's like I don't know how to describe it. I've heard it and I've like listened back and heard it, and I can kind of tell what they mean. But it's definitely something I've tried to work on. It's like something that I've tried to get better at because it's not worth it being mad at video games anymore at my big age. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just not worth it getting as upset as I used to. But I was also like a ragey teenager like back in the day, so it's like definitely different. I'm not a ragey teenager anymore, so.
Yeah, you should really accommodate your body. I mean, I used to play Smite so much that was the only way I would go to bed is angry.
Exactly.
And like my friends actually noticed that like when there was strife or any sort of conversation that involved an argument, I would all of a sudden get tired, and I'd be like, "Oh shit, I'm so tired right now." And they're like, "Dude, are you okay? What's wrong with you?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm so tired right now. I know this argument is very heated, but I feel sleepy. And they're like,
I'm super tired. Yeah.
it's like, dude, it's because you've trained yourself to go to bed angry. I was like, oh shit, you're right.
Yeah, for me it was like in my friend group that I hang out with, there's probably, I couldn't even count. There's probably like a good 12 of us that are like the main core of like our group, and people like come and go or whatever, but like we have this like joke that like me and one of my other friends is, well, what we used to do before I would stream and I would just be hanging out playing games with them, is I would tilt deafen, which is like something like would just tilt me in the game, and then I would just deafen. I would like scream at somebody in the game and then just deafen in Discord and just like be quiet and listen to music on like full blast. I have grown out of that habit. I don't do it anymore. But it was something that I did for a good like year and a half, 2 years, and I didn't realize I did it until somebody like was like, "Oh, all right," like I said something and I was like mad, and they're like, "Oh, are you gonna deafen? Are you gonna like tilt deafen?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, you do that, right?" I was like, "No, I didn't know that I did that." I was so angry. I was like, I didn't know. I didn't even think about it.
Now I'm mad at myself.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck. I'm like, but all of my friends, like all the people that I hang out with have pretty strong, we all have very strong personalities in terms of like sticking up for ourselves and like defending ourselves. So nobody had an issue like shutting me down, or we don't have an issue shutting each other down when someone's just being a little too ragey just cuz. Like we'll just healthy. Yeah, it's not helping anything. You're not adding anything to the group and like making any of us feel better, because like you're raging. And that was something that I talked to them all about, and we all like sat and talked about, because it wasn't just me. A lot of us were having an issue with just getting upset at the game for no reason. And we all sat and had a conversation about it, and it's definitely a lot better now.
Well, that's good. But I mean,
yeah.
It's Smite. Like
it's Smite, and a lot of my friends play the game at like a high competitive level. Like I have friends who are in the SPL, and I have friends who are in the SCC, and they play the game at a competitive level, and they're just very competitive people. A lot of those people, which is that's like will take me into another tangent about like people talk about people who play video games are like fat and losers, and they're like not fit and like not physically fit. All of my friends that play Smite played sports in high school, and they play sports in their everyday lives, and that's why they're so competitive in video games, is because they play sports, and it's like kind of in the same vein of each other.
Yeah.
And they would get just as mad as I would.
I can't say I have any SPL like friends like that, but I know I definitely do have some ranked tryhards in my in my homie group. And so on that note, what is it that frustrates you? Is it the game? Is it the team comp? Or is it your team trolling? Or is it a bit of both?
I think like it's like a combination of like, I know sometimes we will just be playing the game and we'll be steamrolling like every game, and then we'll just encounter one game where we're just getting shit on from the beginning because everybody has loosened up like a little bit too much, and then they're just not caring about the way the game goes. But then when everybody stops caring about the way the game goes and we start to lose, everybody starts to care and get really mad because we're losing.
Yeah.
But it's like, I'm trying to think of like the best way to put it. It's like I know that we can win. It's like I know that we should be winning this game right now, and we aren't, and that's why I'm mad. I'm mad because I know we should be, and we're not. Because I know everybody is good enough to win, and I know everybody is good enough to play the game the way they're supposed to, and they're just choosing not to, which is kind of a ridiculous way to think about it. You don't know how everybody's playing 100% of the time, but that was kind of like a running thing that how everybody in my friend group felt like feels like now is like we all acknowledge we know how to play the game to a certain level. Like, why are you not doing that right now? Why are you like not even one individual person? Just why are we trolling and losing right now when we shouldn't be?
Literally throwing the game.
Yeah, literally, you are throwing the game. You are playing Scylla jungle with no beads or Aegis. Like, what are you doing?
Blink all the way, like, man.
Well, yeah, like. Do you watch like the SCC like at all?
I have not, but I've used to watch the SPL constantly.
Yeah, so two people that I hang out with a lot is I hang out with not Gino, like Gino Mike, and I hang out with Magic Feet, who's in the SEC, and Gino was in the SPL, and he's in the SEC now, and they're two of the biggest fucking trolls I've ever met in my entire life. I'm like Gino goes Sylvanas mid with no beads and only blink and sunder, and he builds full damage, and he just runs at people, and he just ints. I could not count how many days I've played Smite with that man, and he has gone 5-19 in Conquest just cuz.
I mean,
I'm like, is that fun for you? Is that fun? Just dying?
I mean,
there's no way that's fun.
The only way I could sort out that kind of insanity is you play so hard in your competitive matches when you're actually trying that you have to troll with that one.
Yeah, that is absolutely both of their reasoning why. I'm like, but there's just no way it's fun being dead 7 out of the 13 minutes we're in the game. That can't be fun for you.
You're just like, I almost had him, guys.
Yeah, he's like my friend, like, I'm about to start spilling the tea on all my fucking friends. My friend Nehu, who is also in the SEC, what he does is, he'll play Vulcan, and he'll ult over, like, he'll max range ult, and he'll be like, guys, I hit 3. And then we're like, okay, and then we, like, go in, and they're all full health, and he's like, guys, I lied. I didn't hit a single person. And I'm like, this is awesome. I'm like, this is so great right now. I love this.
Oh my god, what a troll!
Oh yeah, it's just like, but like those are like also the small things that make playing with like your friends fun. Like those are like the small things that make the games fun. It's just like when we're already mad, it's not fun.
Yeah, no, that makes it worse.
Yeah, but like if it's just like out of nowhere, it's just like we're just all chilling, and he's like, "Guys, I hit 3," and then he's like, "Never mind, I didn't hit anybody." It's like, oh, okay, like that's cool, I guess. Like it's like okay.
Spook in chat is saying, I seek solace at the gray screen. Help me, gray screen, please. I must have you. Oh my god, we all have those friends though. Like, no cap, we all have friends like that. So it's bound to happen, but it's just when you're angry, not really.
Like when you're angry, you're just like, fuck this. Like you are just like, I've had enough. Like I just don't know what to do. Like you just like, you get so mad, but you still have to sit and play the game. And you're just stuck there playing the game angry, and then that just makes it even worse.
So you can't even hit F6 because you know it's gonna be F7 all the way.
Yeah, it's like what do I fucking do? Like gosh.
Oh,
that hasn't happened in a really long time though. Like I haven't gotten that mad in a really, really long time. I've been trying to be a lot better about it just because like it's just not healthy to like be that way.
Fair enough. Yeah. No, it's not healthy. Especially if you go to bed like that. You train your body.
Oh yeah. And train your body to just go to bed angry.
Anytime there's an argument, you're just like, I'm going to bed, and then everyone's worried.
Yeah, you're like, I've had enough. That's it.
No, that's crazy because I had an ex who, like, for whatever reason, I got mad, and I'm just like, I'm tired, I'm going to bed. And she's like, no, talk to me. Like, you can't go to bed angry. I was like, I'm going to bed.
It's like, I'm going to bed angry, and I'm gonna wake up, and I'll be fine.
And she's like, that can't be healthy. I was like, I'm fine. I've done this all the time. I've literally trained myself. I'll be fine.
Oh, exactly. And the thing is, like, with my friends, like, we can all we can all disband and leave, and then we'll just come back the next day, and it'll be like it didn't happen. Nobody actually, like, cares. It's just, like, in the moment, people get mad.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a heat of the moment thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your end goal?
My end goal?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't really know if I have an end goal. I know it's not great to have goals for yourself, but I have a career outside of like streaming and stuff like that. Like it's not something that it's like everybody's ultimate goal when they stream is to eventually make it like a full-time thing and be like a big streamer. But if that wasn't to happen, I wouldn't like trip about it, you know?
Okay.
I have like my career. I'm a chef, so I have my career outside of like streaming and stuff like that, and I enjoy doing what I do. But if I could sit at home and play video games all day and stream every single day, I totally would. You know.
There you go. And chef, I mean, everyone's got to eat, so you'll always.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody has to eat at some point.
Literally, or else you die. So, or else you end up in her realm, and you have to cook meals for everyone else. It's a cycle.
Literally.
So you're just going with the flow is essentially your motive for VTubing and streaming. Just go
Like,
until whatever happens.
it's like a good outlet to like just kind of like do my thing and do like what I want to do and just like talk to people and get conversational skills and just learn to speak to people and stuff like that.
Ah.
That's something that I like struggled with. But I also just like I do like to socialize. I'm just not super extroverted. I do like socializing with people though. So I just like it's definitely a good way to just meet new people who have common ground with whatever I'm doing and just people who just want to talk and hang out.
I feel like it's different when you're trying to speak to like strangers who possibly don't have the same interests as you, but at least you know that those that enter your chat will at least talk about whatever the fuck you're playing, which is usually Smite. And then you'll have something to at least converse about. So
it's like yeah, like I may not be like the best at Smite, but I've been playing it for a long time. Like somebody could literally talk to me for hours just about Smite, like just ask me questions about the game, and I could talk about it for hours on end. Which is, I guess, kind of what we're doing now.
fair enough. I love Smite, so
yeah.
sometimes it doesn't love me back, but I feel like
Yeah,
that's how it
Smite doesn't really love me back most of the time either. It's okay though.
It shows in Assault when RNGesus betrays me.
It's just like it's like oh yeah, it's like I love playing against the same like 5 people and just losing every game. That happens. It happens and it sucks. It really sucks. And I'm like, man, I really love playing against the same 250,000 star Morgan for 7 games in a row. This shit is awesome.
Oh, am I gonna die? Yep, I'm dead. Lovely.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm getting stunned out of invis by the Morgan and then instantly dying. Oh, yeah, there it is. That's cool.
At least at that point, you're scrimming with those people. Like,
yeah, I mean, at that basically, it's like it's the salty run back. You just run it back every game until you win, and then you win, and everybody gets off and takes a break. And they're like, okay, it's like at least we won once. Like, we just needed to win one. That was just kind of what we needed for like our mental.
I mean, there was one point where we were so toxic at one point that we just we saw the same team again in Conquest, and we literally killed ADC and the support, and then we all logged off because we were just so angry.
Yeah,
it was a war of attrition that previous match, and we just hated we hated
every moment of it. Yeah,
and we were just like, fuck these screen names, and like it was the most toxic thing we could have done, but it was something that we needed for our fucking sanity.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm trying to think of like me and my friends. My friends will do this. I don't do this. I am not guilty. I am guilty by association, but I don't do this. We'll be playing like a game mode, and they'll just see like one person's screen name, and they're like, "Yep, this person is going 1-20 this game. We're just only killing this one person. We are making their gaming experience awful because they just get so mad." And we won't get against the same people that we played against the game before. So they'll just be like, yep, this person, they're not having fun this game. And I'm like, man, y'all are so weird. I'm like, y'all are weird for that one. And they don't do it very often. It's just every once in a while, like they'll be like really, really mad and they're like, yep, this is it. This is the game.
This is the crash test dummy I'm venting all my anger on.
Yeah, it's usually like a character that has like very low mobility. Like they're like if there's like an AMC, it's like, yeah, this AMC is getting put down every wave. Like he is dying every single wave.
Oh man.
And that person will usually end the game like 5-19 or like 1-20.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, that sucks.
I'm pretty sure it happens in every party. Like there's just a moment in time where everyone's like, this guy has a hit. Why? I don't know.
Just cause. It's like just cause.
Pretty sure we've all been there at one point or another. Usually when we're mad.
Yeah, it's like a major anger thing. My friends are just like, they just get like one of my friends is like our friend, like, because we hang out with Kabam sometimes, and Kabam called my friend a thesaurus of anger. And that was his Discord name for like the longest time was Thesaurus of Anger, because he rages at like everything. He gets so mad so easily, but it's like funny mad. it's like you can't take it seriously. You just like have to laugh at him, and then it makes him more mad. So it's like worth it.
Like,
Yes.
that's a pretty great name.
Yes,
Thesaurus of
the
anger.
thesaurus of anger. Yeah.
Yeah, better keep that name. That's pretty good.
I've known him for 3 years. He has kept that name for the entire 3 years that I've known him. So.
Oh hell yeah! I can't wait to to see more of the source of anger.
Yeah, I like wake up every day. I'm like, and because his name is Tom, and that's what his Smite name is too. It's just Tom, and I'm like, man, I wonder what today's gonna be like with Tom. It was like a lot different when we played Smite every single day because he hasn't been playing it as much. He plays a lot of Lost Ark. Okay. But when we would play Smite together every single day, I'm like, man, I wonder what today's gonna be like. I'm like, I wonder if today's gonna be like a content day, like it's gonna be really funny. Or I wonder if it's gonna be like an angry Tom day. Like I just,
roll the dice.
Yeah, we're just rolling the dice, seeing what kind of day it's gonna be like.
Oh man, gotta love a friend like that.
Yeah, he's funny as fuck, so it's fine, I guess.
So I'm gonna ask you about the VTubing community and then about the Smite community, so that way you could give your thoughts on both. Maybe they're the same.
Sounds great.
So what do you love or enjoy from the VTubing community?
What I love about the VTubing community is that everybody kind of has a collective understanding of why we're all together and doing kind of the same thing. Like everybody has their own personal reasons that are dedicated by personal experiences, but like everybody kind of just like has the understanding that we all want to be hot anime people. I want to be a hot anime waifu. I want to be a hot anime like husbando. Like that is like, it's like this gives me confidence. This makes me feel better when I stream. This is why I'm doing this. And that's what I love is like a lot of people disagree about things or they disagree about certain content or whatever, but we all have the understanding. We are all VTubing and we are all doing this because it helps with our confidence and helps us feel comfortable streaming, which I think is like really nice.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And what about the Smite community? What do you love and enjoy about that?
I love that, like, when it okay, this is gonna be like a two-parted answer. I love that, like, one, that the Smite community is very close-knit. I've known a lot of the same people for 4, 5, 6 years. Ever since I like started actually like engrossing myself like in the Smite community. And then like also when there's just a wholly agreed upon person that nobody likes, everybody makes it clear, and then everybody is like supports each other with like maybe claims made about that person or just things coming out about that person. It's like, oh yeah, well I never really liked them anyways. Like I think that's like, and then also just like coming together and helping people who need, like Snooty when her house burned down and everybody came together and helped like pay like the insurance money or whatever it was to get her new house and get her stuff back. Like after her house burned down, everybody came together and helped with that. So I think that's really nice as well. I think that the Smite community, because it's so much smaller than a lot of the other MOBAs like Dota or League of Legends, like it's a lot more of a close-knit community.
Fair enough. Yeah, I have seen that is one banner that we have out of many that we have united over when it comes to dealing with either toxicity or tragedy like that we do in fact care, even though we do hate each other. Like... yeah,
like there's a lot of people that don't like actively do not get along with each other or have beef, but then like at the same time that there's just collective unanimism in like just like supporting your fellow like Smite players, whether it be like supporting your fellow streamers or your fellow pro players or just your friends, like whatever it may be.
Right. So it's like I feel like we'll BM in chat as competition, but when it comes to like, something terrible happens to you, you will get the support.
Exactly.
At least from where it counts.
Yeah, and like I can admit that like I was a type, like there's like two kinds of people. There's people who like laugh spam in Smite, and then there's like typers. I was a typer back in the day. I would get so mad and I would type at people. And some of those people have been in the Smite community as long as I have, and I'm friends with them now. And they remember the stuff that I would type to them and that they would type to me, but we're friends now. So it's like, it just is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody just has those moments where, like, they can't hold it in anymore and they just, like, have to let it out.
I mean, to be
Like,
fair, you kind of did. What is it? Start the conversation. It probably was on the wrong foot, but hey, you started it, so I mean.
yeah, exactly. It's like I'm trying to like think like of like an example of that. I think like the best example is like my stream like member teammate is Mo. Mo and I had like not beef, where there was no beef, but I like did type at her one time at the end of an arena game at 3 in the morning of all fucking things. And I like typed and called her and her friends cringe, I think. And I was just like so angry. I was like, that sucked. I was like, we won, but I was like, that game sucked and it was not fun and y'all were being cringe. And then like fast forward a month and a half later, we became like she invited me to like the stream team. And then the first collab we ever did before she started streaming, she was like, "Hey, do you remember when you said this to me?" I was like, "Absolutely, I do." I was like, I was like, "Yeah, of course I do. I don't think that. Like, I did not. I actually mean that. I was just so just abhorrently angry." And she was like, "I understand." She was like, "We're cool." I was like, "Sounds great." But just like stuff like that, I'm like, people have like brought up to me at random times, like, "You remember when you said this to me?" And most of the time I do remember saying it. And I'm like, "Yeah, I was just really fucking angry." And they're like, "Oh, okay, I get that." And then it just like gets let go.
I mean, you kind of have to give a little leeway when it's Smite. Like, it could be many
Well,
things
yeah,
that get you
yeah.
angry. So, I totally understand. And, it's kind of ironic that the people you were mad at, you end up being close friends with.
Oh yeah, Mo and I are like super we're like super good friends now, and like we message each other all the time, and we just do different V2E and stuff, like collaborating on it and stuff like that. So it's definitely like just coming from a different place.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, my closest homie is Martin, and I met him during a conquest match, and it was during an arena. He picked Ymir because I was like, oh, he was a support main, and so I picked my main, which was Loki, and then we just started steamrolling. He would save my ass, so I would go in reckless, and he would be there to watch over me and save me, and then we did that same shit in conquest because I knew he always had my back. And it's just ironically how it turned out. I trust him as my support because I know he will at least when he says go in, I will go in. So I trust
It's
his
like
call.
I'm trying to think of like for me, so in my friend group, like I was talking about Nehu earlier, and then my other friend, Chronic, his name is Jules. We actually met, like me and my friend group met them in Conquest, just like at 1 in the morning, just like queuing, like the 5 of me and my friends, and queuing into them, and we would always play against them like super late at night, and they were good, so like we would have like actually good games against them and stuff like that. And they just eventually like we would just trade games or whatever, and they would sometimes Jules or Nehu would be solo queuing, and they would queue into Magic Feet or one of my other friends or whatever. And then eventually we all just became friends, and we invited them to our like Discord and our friend group and stuff like that because we saw them all the time and they were good and they were funny and we liked being around them anyways. So it's definitely like that's like a nice part about Smite is like just meeting people you have so much in common with. And I've known them for 3 years now, and they're going to Worlds and I'm going to Worlds too, and we'll get to see each other. So
Nice. And were they usually on the enemy team or on your
oh
side?
yeah, no, they were always on the enemy team. That's like what made it like even like better is that we were just always playing against them because they were never on our team because we always like almost always like 5-stack or 4-stack. So we would always play against them, and they would win sometimes, just the 2 of them with their 3 randoms, or we would beat them sometimes, and they would like rage type at us. Yeah. So it's just a bunch of different stuff that like goes into like just like getting so mad, but then like becoming friends with people. I feel like that happens in my life so often.
It seems to
Like,
be a theme.
yeah, it's like a theme that has like, but I would never type at them because they were better than me, so I never typed at them. They would just always type at like my friends and get like mad and rage, and then we were like all super good friends now. It's just crazy to me.
Wow, solo Achilles cringe.
Yeah, literally. Jules, like Chronic, he's like the Achilles guy. Like that is like his shtick. That's like his fucking thing. Is like he was the Achilles King Arthur guy. And like me and my friends would all like make fun of him and call him cringe and shit like that. Like, oh, haha, you're playing fucking Achilles at 3 in the morning in Casual Conquest. Get a grip. And
Go to
like,
bed.
yeah, get a grip. And then like they would like steamroll us, or we would beat them. And we would laugh at them, and then he would like type at us. But he's like one of my best friends now. So definitely like a development in my life I never saw coming, but it's a pleasant one. So.
Well, there you go, friends. From scrims to friends, it's possible.
It is definitely possible. Not very common, but it is possible.
Oh, that's pretty hilarious. Okay, so on that note, we'll do the reversal. What do you dislike about the VTubing community?
What I dislike is that there's a lot of I dislike that it's honestly like one of the more up and coming competitive content creation categories. Like
Okay.
it is definitely like a very, and what I mean by that is it's very competitive to try to make a name for yourself with such a saturated just genre of like streaming, but it is really hard to make genuine friends, I feel like sometimes, because people either just want to collab, or they just want to like build mutual clout off of each other, or whatever it may be. It is definitely sometimes hard to find genuine friends, but like as you go down the rabbit hole and you just kind of like search people out and you just kind of find people that vibe with you, it becomes a little bit easier. I'm sure as like people get more and more popular with streaming and just like different stuff, it probably is like a little bit harder, but on like the lower end of like smaller streamer side, it's like definitely easier to find people who have the same kind of vibes and like ideas as you.
Oh yeah, because I do feel like friends is one of the things that, like genuine friends, is something that VTubers lack. There's so many
Yeah.
trends to try to make friends, but it's always a like, retweet, comment. It's never more than that. It's never a DM. It's usually never a Discord thing. Rarely, if that ever happens. I've like entered a couple. I've never done it because that's too much effort on my part. But I've entered a couple and like I've genuinely tried through that method to make friends, and it usually never works.
Yeah.
It was through someone else's trend that I met a friend, Lamari, where we ended up being close friends, and then we ended up like sharing each other's groups and things like that. But it wasn't her starting it. It was through someone else. I made friends with her, and that was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I think that's something that VTubers probably in general struggle with, from what I can tell, is just like being the first one to reach out and kind of making that like, and like initializing that kind of like contact with another person, because like I like to be like optimistic that like they don't want to they feel like they're bothering other people, and they want to feel like they're giving people their space and stuff like that, but at the same time sometimes people just don't have true intentions, right?
Right.
But it's definitely like harder to find just genuine true friends, just because everybody has their own ideas, everybody has their own motives, they all do things for themselves at the end of the day. But it is like at the same time, when you reach the smaller side of things, it's also a little bit easier to find those people you connect with, and you just kind of have to find the right people.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And so then we'll move to the Smite community. What do you dislike about the Smite community?
I just like, so I could talk about it like a couple things. I definitely, one of the things people talk about the toxicity of Smite all the time, and I don't like I don't like saying this because it's kind of like a double-edged thing. But like a lot of people didn't grow up in the console days of like Call of Duty and like Halo and shit like that, like on, and like even like the old school Smash community, if you're like going like super far back.
Oh yeah.
But if you're just like going really, really far back, like I hate saying that because it's like, oh yeah, well it's not really great that those communities also suck. But they're larger games. It's not as easy to manage. But it's not so much like the toxicity within people, it's like the animosity that people have towards each other, just about like skill level. I feel like it's really hard for a new player to get better, because the game has been out for so long that people who have been playing for a really long time know what to do just off the back of their hand, and it's hard to develop newer players and like teach them and just genuinely try to help them, because everybody just already expects you to know what to do, when that's like never gonna be the case. People aren't always going to know what to do all the time.
But I also feel like it's not like it's their fault, but I feel like there is some sort of issue with the matchmaking as well.
Yes, that is like
on top of
definitely
that,
that
which
is
doesn't
definitely
help.
true. I think like part of it is like I don't know how true this is. I don't know the numbers off like just off the top of my head. I have no idea, but I just feel like you can't use the excuse that like, oh, there aren't enough players playing the game right now, because I feel like that just like cannot be the case. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like matchmaking has to be like equal to some extent or some level, that like there has to be at least 10 people or at least 5 other people playing the game to stack into somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like it definitely feels like a little bit lazy, and I don't like I'm not one to like speak ill of like high res very often. I'm not like one of those people really. But it's definitely I feel like that is like kind of just on the lazier side of like they maybe just don't know how to deal with it, because like it's so hard to determine somebody's skill.
Yeah.
And they don't have like all the information to like they don't have all the ways to gather that information and keep it stored and try to like keep on working on matchmaking and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm guilty of this. I did make a Smurf account because there was some times that I would just get queued up with in my main account. I would get queued up with like tryhard sweaties is the only way I could describe
I mean, yeah.
And then like at that time I'm like, okay, well this isn't fun for me, and the only way I could really do this is to like drop my elo like significantly. And I'm just like, well that's not fun for me. So then I was like, I'll just make a Smurf account. And then like depending on how hard you went, it would put you back with or even higher with more tryhard sweaties. It's just like,
yeah,
bro, I'm like only level 20. Why am I fighting like these 100 and something? Like what is happening?
Like all of me and my friends are level 160, and I've been level 160 for 2 years now. And so have all like my other friends. It's like, and like we get matched up with people who just like against people who it's just like, that like not even in a bad way, you just know that they're new. They just don't play the game the same way. Like people who are just trying to figure out the way that the map works and stuff like that, and people who just don't know how to rotate properly or whatever, or they don't know how to build the right items, which that's like something we were talking about earlier is like, yeah, there's a good recommended system, but it's definitely like items are obviously very important in Smite, and they can make or break the way you're doing damage and the way you're playing the game. Like I just feel like the game is not very like intuitive for new players, like at all. I feel like it's just not very new player friendly.
Have you seen the tutorial that they
Yes.
put the new player? Okay.
Yeah. It's like, and it's crazy also because like they don't let, this is something that I would like change, is like they don't let new players queue off game modes until they hit like level 15 or something like that. Like you have to play Conquest when you're new, which I feel like is like not good at all. That's why so much of that's why a lot of the community is divided between like Joust and Assault and Conquest, because like they like make you play it right out the bat and you get like a super sour taste in your mouth about it.
Yeah.
I feel like
when you should really like sure, playing Assault is probably not recommended as a new player, but
but like you should be able to play like Arena or something. Like I feel like Arena is the best place to like just learn what's going on at the very least, like how to use your abilities and stuff,
how to team fight.
Yeah, literally. Like it's just like even like Slash, like it's just I feel like off game modes are very good for people to learn what to do.
Oh yeah, and know the flow of the game, and I know definitely knowing that how much minions affect a game and things like that. Like you don't really notice it in the midst of combat and battle, but like minions on another lane could be pushing up and hitting your Phoenix while you guys are having a team fight in another lane.
Yeah.
And you don't notice that until you play it constantly, because sometimes you guys are fighting on the right side of the arena while the minions are moving towards your portal, and
exactly.
It's a tactical thing. So
it's like I could not tell you how many times like me and my friends have been even playing Conquest, and even as the big grown players that we are, we'll be fighting at Fire Giant or at their Phoenix, and then our Phoenix will go down to like just back in the day, like I don't know if you remember, like they would the minion waves would stack based on how pushed the lane was. And there would just be like a giant wave was just pushed, and we would like lose our Phoenix because of how stacked the mini waves are, because we're pushed up so far in their right lane, so our right lane is like super super pushed.
Oh wow. I guess that was one thing I don't remember clearly.
Yeah,
I didn't know that they
it's
changed the minion thing.
it's not as egregious as it used to be. I think they just like toned it back on that like aspect, because it still does happen, but it was like back in the day you could go to like, and it happens every once in a while now, but not as often. Like it was like every game back then is like you would go to you go to a lane after having pushed like a Phoenix and not having been like, you would push duo side and push their Phoenix and take their Phoenix down, and you would go to solo lane to just like clear the wave, and there's the equivalent of like 3 waves of archers in that lane.
Oh yeah.
Like just moving. Yeah, so like and the people who don't play the game very often or who are new don't know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there are just so many micro things in the game that you have to keep track of, and it's hard if you don't know that they exist.
What are your thoughts on a new player entering Duel?
I think that like if you enjoy just fighting people, I think it's okay. I'm not the biggest fan of Duel because of the way the meta of items in Duel is just completely different than it is in the main game modes.
Okay.
Like if somebody wants to learn how items work and somebody wants to learn how to play, like they're going into Duel so they can maybe play solo or they can play ADC in Conquest, I don't think that's the right choice. Just because like in Duel, no matter what character you're playing, you still build defense.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're playing like a hunter in Conquest, you don't have any space for defense.
Yeah.
And if you're playing a mage, you're building maybe Book of the Dead or maybe a breastplate, but you're not building any other defense besides that. And they also took starter items out of Duel, which I thought is like a weird choice, just because like I feel like starter items are a big necessity in every other game mode.
Yeah. So it's essentially like a whole different beast.
It definitely is like a whole different beast, and I'm not one to speak on like the Joust map is my least favorite map in the game by far. I really don't like Joust, and I also don't like Duel that much. But I have friends who play it enough that I can like understand like the disparities of it, but also the positives of it. Like you just learn how to manage your abilities better when you're the only person on the map fighting the only other person on the map.
Right. Okay. Well, that definitely does make sense. So back to VTubing. Is there a benefit from being a VTuber versus flesh tubing?
I think that like if you have like confidence issues with like the way that you look or like whatever it may be, or you have issues with like personal speaking like I do, it is definitely a good place to like just figure yourself out and figure out how you want to carry yourself when you're carrying a conversation with somebody, or you are carrying yourself in front of other people with like crowd speaking or like whatever it may be. Like they aren't seeing like, yeah, like your VTuber makes facial expressions and expresses your face the way that you do, but it's not the same way that a human does. It's not the same way as your flesh will show you the way somebody is speaking and like how anxious they may look or like whatever. There's a certain kind of barrier there, so I think it can help a lot like people with confidence if they're struggling with confidence.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And I feel like for me especially, I feel more of my character when I see it on stream, and I have a lot less to think about when I'm a VTuber versus like when I'm on camera. I have to make sure that my mustache looks great and my hair is done. And I don't look like a fucking gremlin.
Yeah, when I used to like stream with like my face cam, because I would stream with my face cam. That's what I did at like the very beginning. I did like my makeup every single day, and I had my cam positioned a certain way, and I wore certain clothes, and I had like my mic a certain way, and just all these things that go into it. And it's a lot easier for VTubing to sit in your chair and hook your phone up and have your mic where you need it, and you can like slouch in your chair or be comfortable or whatever. I can wear pajamas when I'm VTubing or whatever.
Yeah.
And then just worry about like making sure that your VTuber is like in the right position and that everything is just running smoothly. It's just like, it's also just a lot easier. It is a lot more time oriented though. I feel like there's a lot more work that goes into VTubing, like getting things set up and like making sure all your programs are running properly and stuff like that. Right. And obviously it's more money, but it's like worth it if that's like the thing that you want to invest in.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Definitely the time if you're doing it all yourself from scratch. the time needed and
Yeah.
the knowledge to set it all up, because it's not
Yeah,
that easy.
it's not easy, and it's a lot of work. And I even people who like even me like who you like pay somebody to do it for you, but you still have to like import everything and like set it up and have all your stuff ready. It is a lot of work. Um, but it's like definitely like worth it if it's like something that you think will help you. I think that me personally, I think that if somebody thinks that doing something will help them or their confidence or whatever in any sense of the way, that they should just go for it, because there's only one way to find out if it'll truly be helpful to you or help you in some way.
Okay, there you go. Um, so if you were to start VTubing all over again, what would you change?
Um, I would honestly, I might change my design. I always had two designs in mind for what I wanted to do with my VTuber and the route that I wanted to go. So I might like go with a slightly different design or like the other idea that I had. But I would also probably go about it like because I've been in this my community for so long, and I had like my Twitters linked together and stuff like that, and I was already kind of well known. It's like kind of almost is to a certain extent easier to start off completely fresh with like a VTubing account on Twitter and on Twitch and stuff like that when people don't know who you are.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe I would do that versus like using like my namesake and like the stuff that stuff that people already knew me for. Or I would go with my other design. My other design idea I had was I would be like a Time Lord. Like I would have like clocks in my eyes, like whirring in my eyes, and have gears, and just have a slightly different theme than what I was going for.
So like a
But
steampunky clock.
yeah,
Uh,
like kind of like I'm trying to think of like, have you ever seen? This is so random. Have you ever seen Danny Phantom? Like a long ass time ago.
long as time, Danny Phantom. I remember the art style.
Yeah, so in Danny Phantom, there's this like character that is like because my favorite god in Smite is Kronos. So
Okay.
I would do something kind of based on like if Kronos was an anime waifu, kind of
Okay.
thing, like just something like that. Because I love the like themes like that as well. Like I do love steampunk themes, and I love the idea of like time travel and just like I love the aesthetic of clocks and clock hands and stuff like that. So I would maybe do that, but I love my design, so.
Okay. I judging by a previous VOD I saw, I would not have known that you were a Chronos lover.
All the Kronos that I play. Oh man, that god is just so fun. He's just my favorite character by far.
It's a lot of autos to hit with Chronos.
Yeah, it is. It's like I did this thing where um I was I used to hang out with Haddix's friend group a lot, like a long time ago.
Okay.
And he would do this thing where he would play Kronos and he would go full tank Kronos in the solo lane. And it was something that I was like fanatical about. I still do it every once in a while. I would build warriors or like I'm forgetting what it was. It was back in the day. I'm forgetting the name. But I'll build warriors X, and I would build breastplate Genjis and shield of regrowth, and then urchin, and then like demonic grip. And I would build sprint and beads, and I would just run around sprinting around everybody and not dying because my cooldowns are up so fast. I can ult, and then 25 seconds will go by and I can just ult again. And it was like, to me, like being like a stupid like troll, that was like the funniest thing to me. And it was like the funnest part about Smite. It was so stupid. It was like the funnest part about Smite for me.
Oh my god.
I have not done that in a really long time though.
Sounds like a menace.
Yeah, it was a very menacing thing, and it's like it's something that my friends like remind me about constantly. I play normal Kronos now, and I play him just the normal way, but like that shit was like the funnest fucking thing to me, like a long time ago.
just okay. Yeah.
Just running around, being like a full tank Kronos, being a menace.
I can't imagine anyone being able to catch you
Yeah,
with that
no,
kind of speed.
I would have 0 deaths, and my team would all have like 6 deaths, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just doing my thing. Just
Split
let me
pushing.
rock. Yeah, let me rock. I got it."
So because you started with Smite and being a streamer in Smite, was it a weird transition to go into VTubing?
Um, honestly think it was like kind of out of nowhere. I had like dropped off of streaming for like a while. I hadn't stopped streaming for about a year. I had taken a break.
Okay.
I was moving and like the pandemic happened and my computer couldn't support me streaming the way I wanted to, so I had just taken a break. And then I just kind of like discovered VTubing with one of my other friends, and it was something that I really fell in love with and enjoyed because I love anime so much and I love like just the culture of it and stuff like that, and it goes hand in hand with that. And I was like, I really want to start streaming again, and I really want to try this, and I really want to do it. And I make the amount of money that I make, and I was like comfortable investing in it because I think that if you enjoy something or you have a hobby, it's always worth it to invest in your hobby to make you happy, even if it might not make you happy forever.
Mhm.
You should just invest on the stuff that makes you happy now.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like something that I was like, this will make me happy now, or it'll keep me entertained for a while. And that was a year and a half, 2 years ago. So like here we are now.
Are you happy?
I am happy. I really enjoy VTubing. I really enjoy where I've come and where I've developed from where I started. It's definitely like something that you have to continuously work on. Like everybody's like VTubing is a hobby, especially if you have another job, which is true in the sense of like it's a hobby. If you don't have the money for it, you can find your own means or you can do it your own way. But at the same time, it's like it is like very much a lot of work. Like there's a lot of work that goes into it for anybody that does VTubing, whether they're creating their own model or whether they're doing their own thing, or even if you're paying somebody to do it, still setting up all your other stream stuff and making sure everything is running properly and stuff like that. It is a lot of work.
Yeah, I do have to agree with that. So speaking on your computer and things like that, are you currently happy with your setup?
I am really, really happy with my new setup. It's a lot nicer than my old one. My old computer would take like, oh god, it would take like 10 minutes to like start up and boot up, and my friends like jokingly called it the jet engine because my fan was like so loud. It literally sounded like a jet turbine.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was really fucking loud. But like now my PC is like silent. It starts up in literally like under 2 minutes, and like everything is like good, and it runs all my programs smoothly. It runs my games at like high FPS and like high graphics. So I would definitely say I'm a lot happier with my PC setup than I was before.
Yeah, my old computer was the Beehive because it's
Oh my god.
it sounded like
it just buzzed all the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it wasn't on Smite that it buzzed. It was on Ark Survival Evolved that it would start buzzing.
Oh yeah. There was like I've been on like a shooter like kick. Like I've been playing a lot of like shooters.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is Apex Legends, and Apex for a while just wouldn't open on my computer. It would literally open and then immediately close and just wouldn't boot up. And I was like losing my mind, like trying to figure out why, because I wanted to play it so bad. And it like I uninstalled it and I like ignored Apex for like a month and a half, and I was like, I'm gonna reinstall it and just see if it works. And then it started to work again. I was like, oh, that's cool, I guess.
You're like,
but that
great.
yeah, but then like that game is just like so shittily optimized. It is like a terribly optimized game. So like I always get like packet license shit like that. But that hasn't happened on this new PC like at all, which is really, really nice.
Don't we just love it when we upgrade and it works and it's so beautiful?
Yeah. Literally, I'm like, man, I love this. I'm like, this is awesome.
I remember my first computer that I tried gaming Smite in had no graphics card.
Oh my god.
So I was playing Smite in like very low Crayola res.
Oh
and,
god, I hate low res Smite. It looks so bad. Low res Smite looks like dog shit. It looks so bad. All of my friends, like Gino and like Magic Feet and like a couple of my other friends, they all play on like low res, like just minimum graphics. I'm like, those are literally like, those are minimum fucking, those are shapes. Those are not like textures. Those are just shapes. Like, how do you play the game? How do you play the game like this?
It's like, look at my ping.
Yeah, I'm like this. Yeah, they're like my ping. Because Feet lives on West, so he like averages like 120 ping, and then like on minimum graphics he averages like 90. I'm like, that's just like not any better. The game just looks like shit, and your ping still sucks. Like this sucks. That sucks for you.
Oh man, but I do remember when I first installed that graphics card, holy shit, Smite looks so beautiful, I cried.
Yeah, it's like, man, this looks so much better.
Man, I was playing a garbage.
Yeah, it's like you just like think about it in retrospect, you're like, man, this was dog shit. This was terrible. Like, this sucked.
Oh yeah, and I knew it sucked. I knew it was.
Oh,
bad.
yeah.
It was bad. But then
It's
once
like
that
the-
graphics
it's-
card came in, it's like the gates of heaven opened up, and it
It's
was
like
beautiful.
you go from like having like 60 FPS to like uncapped FPS. You're like, "Oh my god. The game is just like like the game is just different. Like it's just
Yeah.
completely different."
And you just
like,
can't put into words.
Yeah,
That
like
feels
my like Feet, who I keep talking about, Magic Feet, he originally was playing for like the first 6 years of his Smite career. He played Smite on a laptop.
Oh my
He
god!
he only recently got like a setup, and it was because me and my friends like all convinced him to get an actual setup because we were like, you cannot be playing Smite on a laptop anymore. Like you can't do that. That is illegal. You can't be playing Smite at the competitive level like you are and just play on a laptop. That's terrible.
It's like, bro, get off my nuts! I could play Smite on the
Well-
go. That's what I want.
Well, yeah, he's like, I'm so good and I'm on a laptop. Like, I'll be unstoppable if I'm not on a laptop. I don't want to do that. And I was like, right. I was like, that's cool too. So we just like convinced him to just shell out the money for like a nice enough, like cheap-ish like PC, and now he just like he just plays better. Like that he just plays better than he was. It's like, yeah, we told you so. Like
Sometimes it's just the setup. It's not
It
your
is literally-
skill. It's just the
yeah,
it's just your
like
equipment.
sometimes at a certain point, it is just Smite is so shitty. Like you have no FPS, your graphics are terrible, your sound you can't hear anything. Like you're not even playing Smite at that point. Like it is just a different game.
You're playing handicapped Smite.
Yeah, you are playing handicap Smite. Like you are just at a disadvantage.
Oh no, not on a laptop. Have you ever played Smite on a laptop? With a
Yeah,
touchpad?
I've played. Yes, I have. I've played Smite on a fucking MacBook. Like that
Oh my
shit
God.
sucked. That shit sucked. That shit was terrible. That shit sucked.
Oh no.
I had a friend who switched from having a real gaming PC to a MacBook, and he's like, I got a MacBook and I sold my PC so that I would stop playing Smite as much because I cannot play Smite on a MacBook. And I was like, that's an interesting choice for sure. Wouldn't recommend, but interesting choice to be made.
I mean, for reduction in Smite, a MacBook
It-
would definitely.
It works. Yeah, if you want to stop playing Smite, buy a fucking MacBook. Because that game, the Smite will not run on a MacBook. It is, you get 15 FPS, and
No.
it's terrible. It is so terrible.
You're playing slideshow Smite.
You are playing slideshow Smite. It is terrible. I watched him, he tried to stream his game one time, and his computer overheated and shut off.
Oh my
I was like, I was like, cool. I was like, this is so awesome. I
I'm
love
like,
this.
Great investment. How much you pay for that shit?
Yeah, I'm like, you sold your PC for this MacBook? Like, you paid for this MacBook with your PC money. Like, why did you do that? Like, this was never a good, I guess it was a good idea in your head, but, this sucks for everybody else. Because you're still playing Smite, and it's just on a MacBook now.
You could have uninstalled like a normal human being.
Yeah, I'm like, now you're still playing Smite, but it's just on a MacBook. Like, you are still playing Smite just as much as you were, it just sucks for you. Like...
So you mentioned the console region. Do you play on a console as well?
I don't play on a console. I have a lot of friends who transferred from console to PC.
Oh, okay. So they're usually
Yeah.
going towards PC, not the other way around.
Yeah, I also do have friends who play console primarily, who still play on Xbox, and they play on their I don't know if Smite's on the PS5. I know it's on the PS4. But I have a lot of people who came from Xbox and are on PC now. And they just prefer PC. I'll never say that I understand console gaming and stuff like that because I played COD and Halo back in the day, a long time ago when I was 13 and 14.
Mhm.
But I have not played a console game since then. I don't really count Smash and stuff on a Switch as console. It's just different. I haven't played any game on Xbox or PS4 since Call of Duty and Halo.
That's fair. And any of your friends have play Smite competitively on the Switch?
No, but one time, I don't know if you know Cows, Cowsy. She was really drunk one time and she was playing Smite on her Switch with us.
Oh,
Yeah, she was playing Drunk Uller in Arena on her Switch.
Drunk Uller. Oh,
Yeah, Drunk Uller on her Switch.
no.
I was like, oh no. And it was the worst time.
Don't worry,
It
guys.
was
I'll hit all my axes. I
yeah,
promise.
literally verbatim. Don't worry, guys. I will hit a singular axe this game. I promise. She did not hit a singular axe. She didn't hit one. I remember that game so vividly because she got off after that game because she could not play on her Switch. It was so bad. I'm like,
Oh,
how do you even
no.
play the game on the Switch? That sounds awful.
I had a friend who tried to play Smite on this way. He's like, "This is awful,"
Yeah, this is the worst experience. Like, it sucks.
and like I remember once. I don't know how my controller ended up connected to my PC, but I couldn't exit out because it was through whatever reason that it launched,
Oh,
and I couldn't leave. And then so I'm trying to play fucking Chronos on a controller, and
that just sounds awful.
and I'm
Like,
just
it
like,
just-
this is terrible. How do you play this?
Playing any character on console just sounds awful. Like, I'm sorry to all the console players. Like, that just does not sound fun. I was watching Chronic, like Jules, he came from PS4, I think. I don't remember. I think he played Xbox and PS4.
Okay.
But he was like playing, he came to PC, and he's been playing PC for like 3 years now. And he was like, I'm going to play a console ranked game just to see how I do. And I was watching him play Ravana on console, and he was like, this sucks. Like, he's like, I used to not think that this sucked, but like now this sucks. Like, this is not fun. I can't hit an ability. I don't know how to move my fingers. Like, this is not fun at all. And I'm like, that was an active choice that you made. You made that choice.
You chose pain today.
Yeah, you chose to play this fucking ranked game. This bronze fucking console ranked game.
Oh no. Once you touch PC, you can never go back.
You can't go back. Like, it's just like, even like in competitive play when they did those this is, I think it was 3 years ago at this point, like when they did like the console players versus the PC players, like Spring Fling event or whatever, half of the even more than half of the console players chose to play on keyboard and mouse instead of controller.
Yeah.
Because they know it is just better.
Yeah, it was made for it was made for mouse and keyboard.
It was made for mouse and keyboard. Like, it just is a better game on mouse and keyboard.
Yeah. And change my mind. I'll probably thoroughly disagree with you if you try to convince me that controller Smite is better than keyboard. I will fight you.
I just could not be convinced that it's better. And like, that's not to say that there are not like controller players that are better than me, because there surely are obviously better competitive like controller players than me. But like, more times that I can count, I've dogged on a controller player.
Yeah.
Like, it is just a different game, and you just play the game and you play characters differently on controller than you do on mouse and keyboard.
You could totally tell in game which one is a controller player.
Oh yeah, you just like by somebody's movement, you can tell when somebody's on a controller or when somebody's not on a controller. It's just, the game is just completely different.
You get that Gucci turning.
Yeah, literally, like, if somebody's sensitivity is just so astronomically low that they are just like, you can feel the gears in like your Joy-Con like moving. Like, it's just like, that can't be good. That just can't be good for your gameplay. I refuse to believe that.
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, like, it just can't be good.
Oh no, I'm laughing so much. I need to massage my jaw. So besides gaming, are there any other hobbies that you do or wish to stream? Said hobbies?
I want to, like, there's this, like, one VTuber I watch a lot. Her name is Onigiri, funny enough, and she does a lot of cooking streams. I want to, like, be able to set it up one day where I can do a cooking stream. I feel like that'd be so fun. And it's something that, like, I talk about frequently enough, but a lot of people don't actually, like, kind of, like, connect in their heads, is that, like, I am, like, a chef and I cook for a living.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. And it's like, I would love, and people, I feel like, are very interested in cooking, especially after like people like Gordon Ramsay, who normalize like cooking on TV and stuff like that. Like, I feel like it would be really interesting to people, and I would love to like show people how to cook just easy things at home, because I go to work for 8 hours a day and I cook for people all day, and I don't want to come home and cook something that's super hard to cook when I've worked 8 hours. So like, I would love to show people how to make like easy meals at home. Like, and I don't mean those like fake, like people are like, oh, this is a cheat, like this is a really easy cheat for making easy meals at home, and then you have to dice like 8 vegetables. No, I mean like actually like an actual easy meal to cook at home.
Fair enough. Do you think this is just an idea? Do you think you would ever do like a recipe of the day or a channel point redeem where you talk about a meal or anything like more chefy stuff in your VTube?
Honestly, that's like a really good idea. I never even like thought of that. I might steal that. That's a good idea because like,
Go ahead.
because like people don't like people do ask about food, and I know a lot of people love, and obviously everybody loves food. You need to eat, but there's some people, which is so crazy to me, is that some people just look at food as like nutrition, like it's just something that you eat because your body needs it. And to me, love is because I'm Hispanic. Is like love, like food is love. Like you make food for the people you love, and like I love to cook and I love to bake. Like you make baked goods for people you love, and you bake somebody a cake for their birthday, or you make them a birthday dinner because you love them and it's their birthday. Like it's just something that I feel like is very important that some people like forget about, and I would love to teach more people about it, especially from like the standpoint where I stand is like I work in a very set in stone like set of rules when it comes to cooking in like the kitchen that I work in and like the restaurant that I work in. So I feel like I feel like people would find it interesting. I would love to talk about it more, and if people showed interest in it, I would do like cooking streams, or I'd figure out a way to do that. I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, those are one of the passions that I have. Mainly, the ironic reason that I'm so into cooking is because I'm a picky eater. So
Yeah,
I have this
that's
specific
like a lot of people.
things that my food has to hit a standard in order for me to actually enjoy it. So that's why everyone wants my cooking, because it is above and beyond than what, say, to give an example, I'm going to throw my mom under the bus, what my mom does, which is basically grab a bunch of leftovers, put them in a plate, put them in the microwave, and call that food. And I'm just like, no, that's not food. That's an experiment. I'm not going to eat that. I'm going to make my own thing. Thank you for considering me, but I'm not going to eat that. You can give that to my dad. He loves that shit.
It's like, for me, it's like, I think what makes like somebody a really good like just chef, or just like a cook in general, like being able to cook things, is like, because people act like cooking is so hard. It's not hard. It's really not. Especially because baking is hard. Baking is not forgiving at all, because baking is like science. There's like, you have to measure everything when it comes to baking, and it needs to be like exact, or it's not gonna forgive you, and it's gonna be mad at you the entire time. But cooking, there's like a lot of leeway and forgiveness in cooking. You can kind of just do whatever to a certain extent, and like you'll probably be fine. Like there are certain things that you always have to do. Like your chicken should always be cooked all the way through. But like there's like certain like other things that are just kind of like a give or take, like whatever. And I feel like that's what a lot of people just stress so much about cooking, because they want it to be good. But it's like, it's very easy for food to be good and to be the way you want it to be. You just have to know. Like you just have to know. But people don't know unless you teach them.
And once you know the process enough, even when you then you can start experimenting with spices, which is really the next step into cooking, knowing what spice to put in where.
Yeah, like becoming just like familiar with like spices and stuff like that, I feel like is like super, super important. Like it's just like knowing the way that things taste, and that's all, you only get those things through experiences. But like just knowing the way things taste, and like the way that things go together, knowing the way certain tastes blend together and stuff like that, I feel like really important. That's something that I'm really familiar with, because I love spices. My favorite kind of cooking is fermenting certain food. Like I love fermenting foods and aging things. I feel like it's super interesting. So I feel like that's something that I would love. Like I would for sure love to teach people about that if they asked.
Oh yeah. Like the funny thing about like when it comes to my cooking is that sometimes I feel I want to make this specific thing. Never done it. So then we're going to look online. Most of the stuff I can't find because it's like uber expensive, or like the thing that they're using is unreasonable. So then I look into my kitchen and I'm just like, okay, so I'm in my Hispanic household. We have this, this, and this. Could probably mix this together to
Together,
possibly
yeah.
like make that.
You just like throw things together, and it's like you just recipes are guidelines. They are not like exact things. There's like very few situations in cooking specifically where a recipe is like a necessity for something.
Yeah.
Like you do not abhorrently need it for the entire process of cooking. It's only like certain things that are very finicky, like
Baking.
I can, well, yeah, baking, but I'm like trying to think of like even like a dinner or a lunch thing that is like that, and I can't even think of one off the top of my head. The only thing that I can think of is like certain like soups where there's a lot of dairy and stuff in it, and you can like burn it like at the bottom.
Yeah, yeah.
But like besides that, like even that is just kind of you have to go slow, and that's not really a recipe thing. That's just like being patient with cooking.
Right. I do feel like I'm the same way. I'm more of a cook grill person. I cannot bake to save my life.
Yeah, baking's like a talent that I've picked up as I've gotten older because my patience has grown. Like I used to be a terrible baker. I burned everything I tried to bake.
Yeah.
So I would just like I would not get the baking powder right, and then it's like it tastes like baking powder, or it's like not inflated enough, or it doesn't rise, or like whatever. I'm like, man, what am I doing wrong? I'm like, where am I going wrong here? And then I just had to like sit and I was like, okay, I just have to do the process the exact way that it's telling me to.
Yeah, but it's crazy because I'll give my wife like a box of like the baking thing, maybe a brownie, and then she'll just hit it to the T, and it's delicious. And I'm just watching the process, and I'm just like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
Like it's so bewildered.
One of the pastry chefs that I work with, her she went to baking school in France, so she knows how to bake really, really well. And I go to her house on the weekends sometimes, and I'll cook for her because she doesn't really like to cook, and I'll cook for her, and she'll bake for the both of us, and she'll bake like either a loaf of bread or like she'll bake cinnamon rolls or whatever. And I'm watching her do all this baking stuff, and I'm like, wow. That's crazy. I'm like, I could never do that. I'm like, I can do that, but I just choose not to because that is a lot of work. And she's like super meticulous, and she has all her measurements, and she has a scale, and she has a really nice like mixer and stuff like that. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. I'm like,
I can make you a cookie. Do you want a cookie bread?
Yeah, it's like I could like make you like the closest thing to baking for me that is like not actually trying really hard to, because I have to go out of my way to bake. I'm not just gonna do it. I need to go out of my way and set time aside for it.
Get
it's
a
like,
mindset.
man,
It's like,
yeah,
okay,
like get in the
breathe,
right like
meditate.
Literally, I'm like, I need to settle my mind so that I'm patient and I can like set away 4 hours to bake whatever I want to bake. And I'm like, I can make you pancakes. That is like the closest thing to like baking that I can do on the fly.
Pancakes. Hell
Yeah, I'm like, I can make.
baking.
Yeah, I'm like, I can make you pancakes and like do it right now, or you can wait like 5 hours and I'll give you a cake. Like, it's just, oh god, baking just is so frustrating sometimes, but it's fun.
Pancake. I was not expecting that to be.
Pancakes. Yeah, I can make pancakes off the top of my head easily, but like that's about it.
It's like cake reroll pancake. Let's go. That's so good. I need to use that. I'm so good at making pancakes.
I'm so good at them. I could do it at any point, but that's it. That is the only one.
So besides cooking, was there another hobby that you wish to stream as well?
Not particularly. There was an idea that I had like a while ago, is like not so much venturing into like the ASMR category, but like maybe like a book club thing, or like a reading a book on stream. Like setting a day aside every single week and reading like a book, just like different ones, like ones that I really enjoy from my past, like when I was like a teenager, or just like new ones. Not so much like nonfiction. I don't find nonfiction very interesting, so I don't think a lot of other people would either. But like certain like fiction books, like ones that everybody's heard of, like I could do like Lord of the Flies on stream one time, and that's a really short book, so I could read it in like 2 streams. Or like my favorite books, even now as an adult, are the Percy Jackson series. That was like my favorite book as a kid, and those are like all my favorite books as an adult now. And I could like do like just a consecutive series of reading all of those like in order or something like that.
Well, it's funny that you should say that, because there was a streamer before when I started the interviews that is actually in their group, is planning on starting a book club, and if I know
Really?
her, she is going to start it as soon as possible.
That's
And
awesome.
maybe you might get some interesting things because they apparently they have quite a few members that are interested in starting like a book club, like kind of
You
series
should you
thing.
should you should send me her name. That sounds really awesome. That is like
Ex-
something that has been in the back of my head for like a while.
oh yeah, most definitely. And I don't think they're planning on like read streaming, but hey, maybe you could be the
The one
voice,
who does
the
that,
voice
yeah.
of the book, which would be great for those who are too lazy to read like me, and still want
And
to
just
be
and
part
just
of it.
want and just want
And
audiobooks.
want audiobooks. Like, I love audiobooks. I feel
Yeah,
like
the
it's
only thing
more
is
my
like
thing. So
I feel like is I feel like I have a very like I have very certain like inflections to my voice, and I have like a very dry personality for the most part. So I don't know if I could do like the voice acting part. Every time I watch people read books on their stream or read a story or whatever, they always do the voices and they always do tones, and I'm like, I can't do that. That would embarrass me. Like I feel internal embarrassment doing that. Like no shame to anybody who does that, because that's like takes a lot of confidence, but I couldn't do that. I would just be reading it in my fucking dry ass monotone voice, just reading the book. I could not do the voices.
well, to be fair, some of us who have ADHD, possibly me, sometimes the voices may be a little too much, and
Yeah, for
won't
me is
won't
like
be
I
able
just
to
need
hear
like
what you say like clearly. So
yeah, that's like how I am. Is like I just need the words. Like that's it. I just need to hear the words. I don't need all this acting and stuff. But
which is cool.
I know that like other people like that. It's just not for me.
Yeah, which is cool. We're not throwing shade, but it's just
Yeah, no shade for sure. Because I have a lot of respect for people who can just put themselves out there like that. I just can't do that.
yeah.
I just can't do that.
I would try, but the problem is I've never liked reading. The
Oh,
irony of
okay.
it all as a voice actor, I don't like reading. But on top of that, like I'm also slow at comprehending what I just read. So like I have to when I'm reading, you could totally tell when I'm reading versus when I'm like dry or what is it, cold reading, which is
Like you're
very
just like
very slow.
yeah, you're just like glimpsing versus like actually like registering and like comprehending like what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, for me it's really hard sometimes to like just settle down and sit and like do something for hours on end. Streaming is like the one thing that I can do that for, and like playing games, but like I have ADHD as well, and it's like I can't sit still for very long.
Mhm.
And I have like jitters and stuff like that. So it's like I'm always like bouncing my legs or like my hands or doing something with my hands. So it's like definitely hard to like settle down and just like read a book sometimes, just like in silence with just my thoughts. And I'm like, oh, I'm like I just like can't do it. I feel like I'm gonna like lose my mind.
You're
I used to,
hallucinating at that point.
yeah, it's like I used to be able to do it as a kid, and I just like can't do it now. I'm like, what changed? I'm like,
Yeah.
where did we go wrong?
Life. You grew
Yeah,
up.
literally. I'm like, awesome. I'm like, I just can't do that anymore.
But yeah, I'll definitely introduce you to the book club starters, and
Yeah,
hopefully you can give your opinion on said books to the AI. She's an AI companion, so it'll be
that.
fun. Um, okay, so since we're on the story of ADHD, does caffeine affect you?
It makes me tired.
Ah,
Yeah.
ah,
Yeah.
it's true. I'm not the
It
only
is.
one.
Yeah, it is true. That is like a scientific like thing, is that like caffeine does like it is like can't not canceling out. I don't know the exact science behind it, but like it is like not making the ADHD like worse. It like settles you somehow. I don't know the science behind it, but caffeine makes me tired. Like I used
Yeah.
to drink Red Bulls all the time, and I would be like more calm and like zen, and I'm like, okay, this is not working. I'm like, what is going wrong here?
Why am I tired all of a sudden?
Yeah, I'm like, why am I like sleepy? Like this is not doing it for me.
Yep. It's the from what I understand, it's the stimulation. That's why you give someone who has ADHD, a stimulant, so that way they focus,
That
which is
that
the irony of it all.
that makes sense actually, kind of. I'm like, damn, dude. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yep. I've for someone who is probably I'm still not diagnosed, but I'm pretty sure I show all the signs. Um, who has lived through it and has had trouble focusing most of my life. I just thought it was odd because of it. Um, I researched more into it and have found that to be a very interesting thing because I never thought I had that until, someone, one of my friends was telling me, is like, yeah, I may have ADHD. He's like, no, dude, you probably do because you show all the signs. I'm like, well, shit, I guess I do.
Yeah, yeah, like that's how it is for me. It was like something that, because I didn't struggle with like the attention part when I was a kid. I was able to focus in school for the most part, and it's definitely something I feel like that doesn't get talked about very often is like the development of like certain things that alter your brain chemistry as you become an adult.
Mhm.
Is like it's something that I've noticed as I've gotten older that I am actually dealing with. Like my memory sucks. My memory used to be so good when I was a kid, and like now I like forget. I'm forgetful of things all the time. So it's
Same.
just because like it's just the way that the ADHD is in my head. Like it's like it's like my memory, and just like my parents always called me like lazy about certain things, like getting certain things done. But that's also like a symptom of ADHD is like you don't do things until you have to care about them. Like you don't
Yeah.
do things until you have to. And that's kind of how it is for me with like a lot of things. Is like motivating myself to do certain things is hard,
Oh
which
yeah.
is like a very ADHD thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. But eventually we'll get there. I just don't have the funds to get diagnosed, and we'll
Yeah,
see.
it's like it is like it definitely takes like conscious effort more than anything. Like you just have to make the effort to like really make yourself do things, which is so hard sometimes.
Which is how this came into being. Actually, it was just
Yeah.
literally I woke up from a rouse and I was like, you know what, I want to do a podcast, and then I was like, how am I gonna do it? No idea. We're just gonna wing it, and
We're
this is where we
we're
are.
gonna we're gonna figure it out as we go.
Yep, essentially. So, okay, so we are in hater territory.
Hate
Uh,
territory.
what is one hot take of yourself if you were a hater?
Um let's see. I am my myself's biggest hater, so I have to like pick one. Um um honestly probably that I'm like I would say if I was a hater from like looking in from the outside, be
Mhm.
like, damn, this bitch is not that funny. I feel like that is like something that would be like the biggest thing said about it is like, man, she's not very funny and she's not that good at Smite. Why do people watch her? Like that is like my like
That's
that
a
is like
double
my
whammy.
yeah, I'm like, man, not funny and not good at Smite. What is the point? Um
Damn.
yeah, I've definitely had haters in my life, especially in Smite. There are people I've had beef
Oh,
with and stuff like that,
yeah, yeah.
and everybody has. But like to me, like when they like vocalize like their opinions about me, I'm like pretty confident in myself enough, like knowing myself, where I'm like, I know that's not true. But then there are some things they say, I'm like, damn, that's pretty true. I'm like, you're actually right about that. Like, I'll do something to change that, but like, damn, you're pretty right about that.
And what's been your experience with having a hater? Say it's a hater from Smite, and then they end up in your chat. Like, what's been your
Mm,
experience with that?
I like definitely like I try to give people the benefit of the doubt that like because of who I am and like I know that I get angry and I used to type at people a lot more than I do now, that like maybe people change. I definitely give people the benefit of the doubt and I just try to interact with them just to like get a vibe and see. And if I see that they like have changed or they are just trying to be different or they've grown as a person, it's like not that big of a deal to me. Maybe I'll give them a hard time about it, like, oh hey, remember when you shit talked me? Like just like as a joke. But like if somebody like is clearly like has not made a change in their personality and they just like are maybe trying to bring me down by getting closer to me, or they're just like they don't remember doing it, but like you can still tell that they're kind of the same person, I'll just cut them off usually. It's
Mm.
really not, it doesn't make any difference to me. Like cutting people off just cuz like at the end of the day, you don't need a reason for to keep your own mental health like is stable. You know what I mean? Like protecting yourself. Like you don't need a reason for that. If you don't like somebody just because you don't fuck with their vibes, then like that's fine. And I understand if people cut me off for that reason. If they just don't vibe with me, that's
Mhm.
okay.
So, you when you say you type at them, are you like, yo, 1v1 me, show TTV on Twitch right
No,
now,
no,
900 ping?
no. I never like link my socials in like anything. Like my friends used to do that jokingly. Like my friends would be like, "Oh yeah, twitch.tv/Shokera, and then they would send the people who are mad at us my way, and then I had to deal with them. But, like, I didn't fucking do anything. I was just sitting there living my life. But, like, for me, it's just, like, calling, like, the thing that, like, me and my friends were doing for a while is, this is gonna sound so bad, but I'm, like, gonna say it anyways. I was calling people mutts for a really long time. I'm like, people would type me, like, what are you doing? I'm like, why are you typing to me, you fucking mutt? Bark for me. And, like, that, yeah, like, that was, like, or I would just say, woof, you're a mutt, woof. Like, just, like, shit like that. Like, because, like, I know, I'm familiar with the guidelines of getting banned on Smite. I'm not calling people slurs. I'm not calling people fucking dumbass or anything like that. You are a mutt. Like, you are a dog.
Oh my god. That's so
like
good.
It's working around like the like, and that clearly shows how much I care about fucking shit talking people. Like getting around the guideline of like what's okay to say and what's not. Like mongrel was one that I said for like a really long time. Like just like different things that are like you like the one. Okay, I can't say it without laughing. So my friend Kenda like used to play ranked like a bunch, and he was in a ranked game with this dude that we knew that was like one of my friends, and there was someone on like they were on the same team, and one of their random teammates was just like shitting it up. He was just like shitting it up and just like inting and just like dying, and at the end of the game, my friend and Kenda saw it happen. He was like, this Hunbats follows words with his fingers when he reads. And like that to me is like the ultimate put down. Like I have never heard a bigger put down like in my life about somebody. Like that shit that was like 2 years ago. It has stuck with me for 2 years. It is just incredible to me. I'm like, oh my god. Like I don't even know what to say about that. Like it's the funniest fucking thing. Like yeah, this guy follows words with his finger when he reads. Like, oh my god.
The funniest thing is you said Hunbat, so I'm like thinking like Hunbat.
Yeah, like the character
George.
Hunbat. Like the character Hunbat.
Like Curious George reading kind of thing. And I'm just like, oh my god, this image.
Yeah, and it's because the dude that was into was a Hunbat, and he didn't even call him by his name. He did not even respect him enough to call him by his name.
Oh my god, that's so good. And it clearly shows how much you care to BS by figuring out a workaround.
Yeah, it's like I used to get so mad. I would just come up with like new ones. Like it's like I don't know what to say to you. Like I can't call you fucking dog shit because I'm gonna get banned. But like I can like another one was like my friend came up with this one. Is like we would tell people that they sucked on batteries as a kid. And we'd be like, they're like, what do you mean? And we're like, you're negatively charged, bro. like you are negatively charged.
Oh, what the? That's so good.
I have a lot of them. I self-muted myself in Smite. I can't type in Smite anymore. But those were ones that we would use, and just so many other ones that are like that. Like I could tell you all of them. They're so funny, but it's like it just shows how angry like me and my friends used to get. That was so stupid.
Please tell me you have a document somewhere, like either on Doc or on Discord, where it's like you write down your favorite words to say that won't get you banned on Smite.
We have a quote wall in my friend's Discord. Like the quote wall is just like memorable moments of us playing Smite, of people typing at us and raging at us, or like people just typing and saying ridiculous things, or just like different things to like that extent. I remember one time I was playing Thanatos in a Conquest game, and I was just playing terribly. I was like just like doing bad. I was dying on cooldown. Like we were just losing the game because I was playing terribly. And one of our randoms was like, these are some premier Thana ults. And my friend Tom was like, yeah, it's her Make-A-Wish game. And our random was like, maybe she should make a different wish. And it's just like, it's like just like different stuff. Like, it's just like, it's funny, and I can like laugh at that because it's like that is funny as fuck. Like, it's just
Oh my god.
different. It's like just different stuff. Is like, oh my god, yeah, we have a quote wall. The only Google Doc that me and my friends have are for Nox players in Arena.
Okay.
That was started by Gino, actually. He started that. He made the Google Doc and started it.
What does this Google Doc entail?
It just has the
flip us?
names. It has the name of every Nox in Arena that we encounter. Because Gino
It's a hit
only
list.
wants, yeah, Gino only wants to play Arena whenever we play Smite. He doesn't want to play Conquest. He's like, I play competitive Smite. I don't want to play Conquest. I'm like, okay, we can play Arena. He's like, okay. And every time we encounter a Nox, their name goes on a Google Doc, and then he puts dashes by their name if we see them like multiple times in a row, and we just keep track of the people that we see. It's because I don't care as much. He just hates Nox. He just hates that character, and I'm like, man,
Bro, did
that
Nox
is
hurt you? Holy shit.
yeah, I'm like, that is a lot of energy to put into hating one character. That is
Oh
a
my
lot of that is a
God.
lot of fucking energy.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like Nox's kit kind of deserves it, but god damn, that is a lot of hated energy. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
it's like that's like the only thing about the game that he hates. It's like only that. I'm just like, man, I'm like, that is crazy. But like I also can't say that it's crazy because like I put my energy into just hating people like on Smite and telling people that they are negatively charged. Like
And they're mutts.
they're mutts, yeah.
They're finger readers.
Yeah, the one that we've been saying a lot is, oh, you got some neural net lag. Like your brain is
Oh my
lagging. Like your brain itself is lagging. Like your reaction time, and you are just lagging yourself.
Holy shit, that's so good. Jeez.
Yeah, I can't take the credit for all of these because I don't come up with half of them. They're my friends coming up with them, but they're so good.
I would just die laughing reading all these.
Yeah,
They're
they're
so
just
good.
it's and like there's certain like sometimes randoms will just type like they'll like make a wish one like that is funny as fuck. Like just like hearing people like come up with just funny shit like that, I can't even be mad about it, even if they're shit talking me, because that shit is so funny. Like if somebody can make me laugh like hard enough, I can't be angry about it.
Because you're just like, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, I'm like that is fucking. I'm like that's hilarious. I'm like that is so funny.
Oh, randoms. Sometimes they surprise us. Most of the times they disappoint.
Yeah, I haven't played with randoms in Smite in a really long time. I like go actively out of my way to like not do that. But like every once in a while, it'll just be like I can't be fucked to care, and like they surprise me for sure. And I'm like, okay, like this is fun enough. Like this is funny as shit. So.
Wish that were me, unfortunately. So let's see. Do you make content on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, etc.?
I will post occasionally, just like post different like skebs and like art content and like collaborating content on Twitter. But other than that, I have not really ventured into the content creation side of like TikTok. I don't have any video editing skills or anything like that, so I can't really say that I've like tried to edit stuff and like put it on TikTok. I feel like that's like a really good platform for VTubers to blow up besides Twitter. And Instagram and like Facebook are kind of like on the back burner of like, I feel like I always refer to Facebook as like the boomer app, because I feel like I don't have a Facebook, so I've never used Facebook at all. It was like before my time when social media was like first coming out. But like Twitter is like more my speed, and TikTok as well. I have no video editing skills at all, so I would have no idea how to edit videos and put them on TikTok.
Fair enough.
Like I said, I am like actually technologically inept. I like can't do any of that shit. If I wanted to do it, I would like have to pay somebody to do it for me.
You just need one of your ghoulie guys to do the editing.
Yeah, I just need to make a shade do it for me.
Yeah. At this point, I'm sure someone will figure it out. I'm sure someone died with editing skills.
Yes, there are enough people who are good at editing that they could do that for me. I would just have to seek them out.
Okay, so this is a big one. So we'll take it in strides. What is your biggest struggle mentally, physically, emotionally, financially as a VTuber?
Okay.
So biggest struggle mentally.
So, the biggest struggle mentally is definitely, I think, a hard part for anybody who is a little bit late onto the scene or wasn't one of the founders of like the bigger corporate side and like independent VTubers like Shy Lily or Iron Mouse or whoever you may be. Like, if you're just not on the more popular side, it's definitely hard mentally not to compare yourself to other people and the progress of the people around you, and just like wonder, like, oh, this person with this design is succeeding so far above me. What am I doing wrong with my content, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of things that go into making content and doing content creation. And I've done plethoras of different kind of content creation, like flesh wise and VTubing, just over the years. And there's a lot of work that goes into it and a lot of effort that goes into it. But like sometimes half of it is just luck. And that's like, I feel like a really hard thing to accept is sometimes people just get really lucky with hit tweets on Twitter or just hit TikToks. They hit the algorithm correctly or whatever it may be. But that definitely is like a hard thing to accept, is like some people are just making better content than you, or they got on the train faster than you did, or whatever it may be. Physical wise for like VTubing is definitely like I said, I struggle sitting in my chair for long periods of time. But like I played a lot of sports when I was in high school, and I did roller derby when I was like in high school on the side, as well as like I did it outside of like graduating school, like up until I was till I was like 19, I think. And I have had a lot of injuries in my life. I've never broken any bones, but I've pulled things, I've strained things, I've just like hit things out of like where they should be. Like I have hip and knee issues just from playing volleyball, and I played basketball and I ran track. So there's just a lot of stuff that goes into like there was a lot of running involved that was not good on my legs. But it's definitely hard like sitting in certain positions for extended periods of time. That's like the only biggest thing with like physical like struggle with VTubing is like it's just sitting in a chair is like for long periods of time is not easy sometimes. Like sometimes my legs and my hips or my back just hurt. Like it just is not easy to sit, and I like need to get up and stretch. And that's something that I try to do is I try to get up every like hour ish and like stretch and just like move around, because sometimes that's all I need to like reset my body, but sometimes I just need to like get up and go lay down or something like that.
Oh, okay. And do you keep those as redeems as well for chat?
No, it's just like a personal reminder. I have like a posture check, and I have like a hydrate, because I do forget to drink water sometimes. But like actually getting up and stretching is something that I have to hold myself accountable for. I feel like, so like I make myself do it. And then like financially, that's like a big argument within the VTubing community. Something it's like discourse that I see like a lot is like when I was talking about it earlier, people are like VTubing is a hobby, and that is true. It is a hobby for people who don't do content creation full time, and it's an expensive one if you want certain things or whatever it may be. Like I paid not like a lot of money comparatively to some other people, but I paid a decent chunk of money for my model and the rigging and stuff like that and all the art that goes into it. And I definitely think it's like there's ways to make it free for yourself if you want to put in the effort, obviously, right? Like if you want to learn how to do the software, you want to learn how to draw, like if people are good artists, they can make and rig their own art or like model themselves and be fine. And they're really popular. There's a lot of people who are like that. Like there's this stream team called Viewgen, which is a bunch of really popular VTubers. They're all artists, and they all like drew their own models and stuff like that. And some of them rig their own models too. It's definitely like there's a not bar graph. There's like an XY axis of like effort times like also the amount of money that you have and you want to put into it. Like you need to put a lot of time into it no matter what, but it's a lot more time if you don't have the financial abilities to just invest in other people doing it for you.
Right.
But I definitely think that like I'm in a good place myself with like my career, that like I have that expendable money to spend on things that I want and the hobbies that I want, even if they are not maybe making me the most money in return. Like I do make money off of streaming, and it's like really nice making money off of streaming and stuff like that. And I do other things like I used to do like other things like selling like chats or like whatever. And that's like extra money. And I like having extra money in my pocket, but usually all the extra money I usually will put right back into streaming and just like making my stream better. it's definitely understandable though, like why a lot more people would struggle with the money aspect of it. The money aspect of it is like the biggest part of VTubing because you have to spend money on your model and then your rigging if you don't want to do it for free or you don't have the time to do it for free. You have to spend money on that, and then also all the art you want to get of your model and all the stuff for your stream that you want to get, and just making sure you're in the right place to create the content that you want to create.
And how about emotionally?
Emotionally, I think like the biggest struggle is kind of realizing and being able to differentiate like the kinds of relationships you have with certain people. Like just recognizing that certain people are only around you as like fellow content creators and that you want to hang out with to create content with, and then being able to differentiate between those people and people who are actually your friends that also create content, but they are still your friends. It's definitely like a struggle, like sometimes like also like being in a situation where people want to create content with the people around you but not necessarily include you, like that is like something hard to deal with, but everybody has their own opportunities, everybody has their own schedules, so you kind of just have to make what works for everybody and what works for you. You have to make the best out of it. Like if I'm not on the same schedule as almost like more than half of my fellow stream team members, so I don't get to collab with them very often. And sometimes I do get sad that I don't get to enjoy and partake in their collabs as well. But then every once in a while on the weekends or on days where I'm off of work, I can sit and I can stay up a little bit later because I go to bed really early for work. I can stay up a little bit later and hang out with them and collab with them. And I love those streams. I love doing that. So it's definitely hard not always being included with everybody, but something that if you live on a different schedule than everybody else with, you kind of just have to accept.
Do you feel like it's a time zone issue most of the time? Scheduling?
Not so much like a time zone issue, but I wake up at 5 in the morning every morning to go to work, and I get off at 2 in the afternoon. So I go to bed at like 9:30, and a couple of my stream team members are west or like mountain time, so they're like an hour behind me, and they don't start till like way later.
Yeah.
And then some of them are east, and they still don't start until like way later. A lot of them are just like late night streamers. Everybody just kind of streams late at night, and I'm always in bed by then, so I stream in the early afternoons, evening time ish. So it just depends on like what everybody's schedule is looking like and what everybody's trying to do.
I see. Okay, so it's a live streaming balance.
Yeah, it for sure is. And a lot of my fellow stream like members do content creation as their full-time job, or they have a lot more leeway with their job, so they can put a lot more effort into it. So it's definitely like easier finding, like it's definitely harder to find a balance for me, but I feel like I juggle that balance pretty well, and I don't upset myself like too much with like the content. And I collab with them when I'm able to, and I can like accept that.
Okay. Seems like you found a workaround that's acceptable for you, which is good.
Yeah, and I continuously like work on it too, and I try to make it as good for me and as healthy for me mentally as like I possibly can. Because at the end of the day, I care the most about my mental health over like anybody else.
And that's how it should be. Make sure you check yourself. Okay, so besides the one stream group that you're a part of, are you part of any other stream groups?
Not like streaming groups, but I do have a decent amount of like friends who are like independent VTubers and stuff like that. I've gone out of my way. Give me 1 second. I'm just drinking something.
Oh.
Cheers. I've gone out of my way to like to try to like seek out like friends, because I before VTubing I did not go out of my way to make a lot of friends besides the friends that were in my friend group. So I wanted to try to find people who I could relate to on a different level with VTubing. None of my friends they're just my Smite friends VTube at all. So I just wanted to try find people who were in a similar headspace to me on a different way than my friends. And through Twitter's honestly was the easiest way for me to do that, like debuting as a VTuber and stuff. It was the easiest way to do that. And I have become friends with a lot of people, and I have collabed with them, and I also just interact with them in their streams, and I'll go to their streams and I'll watch them and support them. and stuff like that, and they'll support me when they're able to. A lot of people don't live in the time zone that I live in, or like are awake or on when I'm on, which I understand. Everybody lives their own lives, but I'll still support them when I'm like able to.
I see. Well, at least the support is still there, even if it is a little too early.
Yeah, I know that I live just like an earlier kind of day than other people do, so
Yeah, by the time you're going to bed, most of us are getting out of work or
yeah,
eating
or just
dinner.
like just now getting on to like do something. So like I definitely understand that like everybody is different. Everybody lives a different life for sure.
Right, right. Okay, so we are reaching towards the end. What are your tips for newbie VTubers?
My tips for newbie VTubers is definitely sit down and like even though I personally don't have goals, like definitely think about like what you want to make out of this, like what you want to make out of VTubing. Is it just a hobby? Like you just need like a direct answer for yourself on like what you're trying to gain, because if you have that, then it will direct the kind of content you make. Like if you're trying to like make this a full-time job while also still working an actual job, there's a lot more work that goes into it because you have to create a bunch of different kind of content on a bunch of different kind of platforms. But if you're doing this for fun and just for like maybe extra money on the side or just seeing where it goes, kind of like I am, you can just go with the flow and just kind of like go see as you go like what you're trying to do and what you vibe with and what you enjoy doing on your stream, and then through that you will find people who enjoy watching you just for you.
And there you go. There's your free tip for the day. So, do you have any questions for me? Because the portal that is going to send you back to where you came from, to your kingdom, seems to be opening.
Not so much questions, just that I just want to say I really appreciate you inviting me, and I hope that we can maybe do this again, or maybe since we were talking about like women in gaming and stuff like that, maybe I could get a couple of my other stream team members to talk about it, and we could all do like a group thing or something like that. I think that'd be really fun.
Oh yeah, no problem. And if you have anyone else that you would like to put on the hot seat to answer any questions, doesn't need to be about VTubing. It could be about Smite, could be about streaming, could be about anything. I am more than happy to have them on the hot seat. Because I'm fairly new at this. I don't have many connections, so I rely on my guests and things like that. So since we are reaching towards the end, what are your plugs? Where can people find you?
People can find me at Shokera on Twitch, just Shokera on Twitch, and then Shokera VT on Twitter. And that is kind of like the only place you can find me, but I am very, very active on both of those platforms. You can always reach me. And that is like definitely the best way. Twitter is the best way to reach me if somebody's like trying to message me about something.
Well, there you go. You have our plugs, everyone. And my last question for you is, who should we raid?
Who should we raid? Oh god. Oh god, I'm not on Twitch. Oh god. Oh god, oh god. Let's see. We should raid. Oh god, no, you put me on the spot.
I always do.
Yeah, you put me on the spot. Fuck. Oh, cows just went offline. I was gonna say maybe cows.
The one question no one expects.
No, I was not expecting that. I don't know. We could raid Suku Oni. She's like one of my VTuber friends. She's not playing Smite right now, but she is a Smite player. She's isn't username. Yeah, I got you. Oh. She's really, really awesome. But yeah. I really appreciate you having me on and stuff like that.
Yes, I'm so happy that you were able to make the time. First Smite tuber to have up here. Very exciting, especially since it's one of the games that I know the best.
Same.
So hopefully we could collab again, whether in Smite or another interview. I'm always open for more Smite content. But besides that, amigos, the portal is closing and our guest is leaving. We'd like to have you thank you all for being part of this interview, and we'll see you on the next one.